And we are live. I'm Anthony Johnson, founder of 21 Studios, today's host of the Redman Group, also wearing Santa MAGA hat. On today's episode number 45, focused on game and pickup, the Red Pill Lens. I have on the show with me today Ryan Stone from the fourth R of the Manosphere. He's at ryanstone.com, a new website, and former speaker, alumni speaker twice over of the 21 convention. After that, I have Jonathan from Modern Life Dating. He's a frequent guest on the show. Second or third, we have Donovan Sharp from the Sharp Reality, also an alumni speaker of the 21 convention. And of course, we have our resident economist and Gendernomics founder, Carl from blacklabellogic.com. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me on the show today.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Make women great again. Merry fucking Christmas. Let's do this. So today's episode, before we get into the topic, let's do a little quick roundtable. What do you guys have going on in your life? What's going on with work? What's new? Ryan, I saw you took the green pill there with your little newsletter plug. What's going on?
It was just, something I realized. I have about a fair chunk of subscribers right now to the email newsletter, but not nearly as many as are subscribed to YouTube and to Twitter. So I just assume people may not know that I have a little daily 6 days a week newsletter going on. So throw some little ads in there if you want to sign up to it. It's on my website, ryanstone.com/newsletter. Subscribe there 6 days a week. We got Military Mondays where I talk about lessons that I learned through the military and that you can take from me. Wednesday is for Red Pill stuff. Friday is for my long-running series called The Fuck Files, where I talk about the more embarrassing parts of game. Saturday will be a summary of the Redman Group with some thoughts, and then I fill the rest up with what I call Red Pill Thoughts, THOT. Seemed like a funny little play on words. It's mostly just musings about the things that people on Instagram, Twitter, online and offline are kind of noticing about the Manosphere in general. As far as the new things, if you guys don't know, I've got my YouTube channel started. So Ryan Stone's cooking channel, where I cook something fairly simple for guys that may not know how to put together a fucking omelet, and then go over some basic red pill concepts. It's kind of like Rolo's Red Pill 101, but I know you don't want to spend 45 minutes just staring at me, so I try to put something in front of you that you can take some value from. And that's where I am right now.
Cool. Jonathan, what's going on, man? Welcome back.
Thank you. Actually, I saw your channel, Ryan. It's actually surprisingly good. I watched both episodes. High quality, high production quality. I also have a YouTube channel, and I put out a new video after like a 3-month break. But the best way for you guys to follow me and get in contact with me, and the way that I put out the most content, is on Instagram at Modern Life Dating. And then also, I am putting out the body language course because I've actually been a regular on Donovan's shows on Tuesday and Thursday mornings now. And I've gotten a lot of feedback about this small body language episode we did where I just literally scratched the surface. So I hired a model. I filmed 3 hours worth of stuff, and coming out with a course just to help guys out to know if you're like on a date, if you're wasting time or not with this kind of girl.
Cool. Donovan, what's new? What's cracking, baby?
A whole lot, actually. Got some things in the work coming up here for the new year. I'm going to start working on a book. I'm going to put the finishing touches on my mobile app. I'm also going to be releasing some merch, as the kids like to say. You know, Donovan Sharp brand, TSR brand gear. So, you know, to be determined. Stay tuned for that. I had a great week of shows. Yes, I know I have a zit on my face before anybody says, what's that growth undone in its face? Yes, it's it. Listen, I'm on TRT. I forgot to take my AI inhibitor 2 days this week. This is the result. So live with it. If you don't like it, don't watch. So Monday's show, I talked about Hateries 101, what haters say versus what they mean. And what it boils down to is that your female haters want to fuck you and your male haters want to be you. So that's the too long, didn't read, didn't watch version. Tuesday's episode, I talked about how to avoid false rape accusations. Not only did I talk about that, I talked about why women make false rape claims, and then I talked a little bit about how to know a public a rape accusation is false, how to figure out very quickly that a public rape accusation is false. I'm not going to get too far into it, but the first and most obvious reason is she tells more than one person, but not the police, right? Women who have truly been raped don't really want to tell anybody about it. They might tell a close friend, close confidant, mom or dad, whoever the case may be, because women who are truly raped, that is an ordeal. They don't want to spread it throughout the world. But when women make false rape claims, they tell everybody who will listen, but they don't tell the police, the people that can actually do something about it. So definitely take a look at that particular episode. Wednesday's episode was Why Men Always Have the Last Laugh. Very, very good episode. Had a woman in the chat tell us that she was 47. She works her ass off, and she's fabulous. And I spent 15 minutes, basically debunking her mythical, magical life. I'm sure, listen, she's 47, so I guess that puts her at about a 9. I remember we had a guy who called in here, said that he was fucking a 45-year-old 9, so I'm sure those two are probably friends. Yesterday's episode, or Thursday's episode, I talked about what I learned being the other man. We learn a lot about women getting cheated on by them, but you learn a lot more when you're the guy that she cheats with. I had Rolo on yesterday. It was a great show. Announced the launch of the Latino Manosphere, the soft launch of the Latino Manosphere by our own Miami J. Had Jonathan on Tuesday and Thursday. Had a couple of really, really good shows. He talked a little bit about what life was like in Japan. And then, of course, we had a really fun episode on Thursday when we talked about 13 myths, fact or fiction in terms of Japanese women, Japanese culture. Do Japanese people hate white people, even though the girls want to fuck them? So it was a fun episode. We had the sound effects and, the morning zoo crew sound effects and everything like that. So great week of shows. My next week is going to be even better. I'm going to have Kevin Samuels on. So again, go to donovansharp.com, or you can go to patreon.com/donovansharp if you don't want to listen to abbreviated versions of my show that YouTube will probably most assuredly nix at some point in time.
Got it. Carl, what's shaking?
Oh, not much. I just wanted to add in with Donovan there. If you want to avoid a fake rape claim, there's really just one solution. Just go MGTOW, and then you won't have that problem ever again. Just get your dog back in that.
Got plenty of that, dude. This is why I go MGTOW.
No, and even if the doll feels like she was raped, you can just do Control-Alt-Delete and delete her short-term memory, and that thing is all gone.
Jesus.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Mm-hmm.
No, I've been working a bit on the new book, not as much as I'd like. I have a lot of stuff going on in my real life this month, and I'm also back in the gym after a short break. You know how it is if you've been going at it. I hadn't missed a workout in a year. And you get all those little nagging injuries and pains and stuff. So I took a little bit of time off, and I went back on Tuesday, and I've been having DOMs like I've never lifted before. So I've been crippled for the past 3 or 4 days. Well, thank God I had alcohol to live through that.
There you go.
And other than that, it's pretty quiet on my front. So throw it back to you, Anthony. What's happening with 21 Convention?
Dude, a whole bunch of shit. It's pretty wild, man. The company has tripled in revenue, like officially over the past year, which it looks like we're gonna do that again, like twice in a row, which for a 12-year-old company is pretty remarkable to say the least. And this business is the only business I've ever run. 21 Studios is the one I've run my whole life since I was 17. So to see it taken off is fucking awesome. Obviously, it's an overnight success for 12 years of overnight work. But that's been awesome, and that's come with a lot of new challenges, personnel I'm hiring onto the company, reorganizing things, a lot of remote management stuff, like I think you work with in your real life job, Carl. And it's been a personal challenge to rise up to it and take it and kick ass with it and overcome it. And now triple again this coming year with more events. We actually have 3 events planned for 2019. I've announced 2 briefly on the Twitter and stuff. We have Poland coming up in July. We have Orlando, Florida coming up in November. And then there's a surprise one that I haven't announced yet publicly coming up in the spring. That'll also be in Orlando, Florida. A few of you guys are aware of that, I think. I'm not sure if Jonathan is, but the other 3 of you are. And all 3 are going to be fucking awesome. Very excited. And the events are going to be new as well. And that's been a big thing that I've been working on, both with my, talking within the team, and then also just actually planning it out, getting it prepped. We're adding workshops into the event basically, which is going to be a big fundamental change to how the events operate. Because currently, the past 12 years, they've been focused on the speeches, which are really cool, and that's what people see on film, but that's not the main point of why people attend or why they attend repeatedly. they tend to meet the speakers. They tend to meet the other guys at the event, the network. And that sounds like some kind of vague, like generalized shit, but it's actually really serious. I would say the bulk of the experience of the convention, even over the past several years, has been the face-to-face interactions you have at the event, the experience of being there. The speed shows are kind of just like they're not an excuse to get together, though we've joked about it like that, but they're just like they're kind of the structure that all the meat is built around. And that's what we're now tapping into a lot more. And I think these upcoming events are really going to surprise people, all the men who attend. And then also we're planning, 22Con in the spring of 2020. That's a thing that I keep going on with behind the scenes, keep working on, chipping away at. Because that's a vision in progress. I need help from guys like you, Carl, and Ryan and Rollo to develop and make sure that we kick ass with that. It's different than talking to men, obviously. Men and women are different, as we know, psychologically, biologically, and about every damn way you can imagine. So I think if we just roll up to this event and speak, super rationally, logically, and focus on all the data and stuff, and like why feminism sucks, how to make yourself a lot better as a woman, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. Women are not men are not women, and we approach problems in life a lot differently. Or any kind of improvement stuff. This is something Ryan pointed out to me immediately with 22Con. So that's all going on.
One of the interesting challenges you're going to have with 22Con is going to be security-wise, because normally you're trying to protect, the speakers and the audience from outside problems, but here you're going to have to protect the speakers from themselves so they don't end up banging any of the women that attend.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. It's I thought about that. I'm looking at guys like Goldman. I'm like, oh man, if Goldman shows up to this, like, what are we going to do?
A little bit of professionalism. I'm sure he can keep it in his pants.
Yeah. I'm
Just make sure Goldman leaves his camera at home.
Yeah, leave the camera at home. That's right.
He leaves his camera at home. We got nothing to worry about.
Maybe we'll just pass out consent forms. I don't know, like kind of like a Dave Chappelle. Like, yo, baby, I'm down. Like, give him like a notepad, like a whole like thing for it.
That's
get a notary.
Man, at the 22Con, you should have like all the women sign consent, enthusiastic consent.
We'll have a notary present. We'll have an attorney. We'll have the whole works. So
right.
I don't know. It's a long ways off.
Live stream it from all the speakers and hotel rooms, the entire event.
Oh my god, we'll see what happens. But that event, I'm pretty fucking excited about it. Other than that, we've been yeah. So other than that, we've also been publishing a lot of the 21 reports. From the 2018 event. Yesterday we just published Texas Dom. Day before that, Tanner Guzzi. We published I think well over a dozen at this point, out of about 23 total. So we're chipping through that. Today we have Pat Campbell coming out later in the day on 21 Studios at youtube.com/21. And yeah, man, things are just busier and shit. And that's good. This time of year, it's usually a little bit calmer than this after an event. But this event we had, I've been kind of thinking about what happened recently in Orlando. And that was like the first, so 2017 was the first Red Pill Summit. 2018 was like the first Woodstock for men and Woodstock for the Manosphere. It was like a level up. Yeah. Listen,
we have a really good question in the chat. Is there a weight limit for 22Con?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yo, listen. I'm gonna impose an unofficial weight limit of about 130 pounds. If she's over 130, no. You know what? If she's over 130 pounds, make her buy 2 tickets.
Well, on a serious note, I think I haven't overfocused, but I think people assume that the 22Con is all about like undoing feminism. And it's not. It's about what women need to learn. It's about what they need to unlearn, how they've been lied to and fed bullshit. And then also like health and fitness stuff too is a big part of it. Obesity is a big problem in America.
Yeah.
And that includes women. So
it's funny you put it that way, Anthony, for sure. I always think how some women are worried about if they're fat and they're at the gym. I'm like, every fat person I see at the gym, I will gladly give them the equipment and wait my turn. Yeah. Like, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. Don't make fun of fat girls at the gym, man.
Never.
As long as they aren't trying to Tinder me, telling me that they want me to pay their mortgage bills, I'm fine.
Yeah. Sugar babies. Yeah. I'm gonna get back into sugar babies. I got that new book, Salty. It's kind of I go through kind of these phases, right? Like sugar babies for a while, like 6 months to a year. Then I go through single moms. I keep finding these like little niches, and I think sugar babies are making a return back in my life now. So we're gonna see. They've been very receptive. I haven't been on the site in a long time, seeking arrangement. So. Able to do the Santa hat, nice little picture for him, little sub commercial.
You need to do a short video on your seeking arrangements game, Anthony. Like you dropped some serious game knowledge on that. Like I was shocked. I was like, wow.
The best guy is actually B-Rob. He's better than me. Like I talked to him at the convention, and immediately I'm like, oh, this dude's like, if I spent another 6 months doing this all the time, or a year or whatever, this is where I'd be at. Like he was definitely ahead of me on that. We should get him on the show sometime.
That's
maybe Yeah, maybe like in a Patreon one only. I'll maybe through some more stuff here.
Like I actually like the girl that George Bruno had in the chat the other day, where it was like a 46-year-old sugar baby.
Okay, what the fuck? Yeah, there's some on there. There's some in their 50s I've seen. They'll say they're like 37, and it's like, bitch, you're like 57. Like, you're not even close.
Yeah, but if you're going to pay for a girl, you may as well pay for a 20-year-old.
You don't have to pay for any of them. All you got to do is buy the book Stealthy. Anyway, let's get before we get into the topic. I just been rambling on about what's going on with me, right? Lots of shit per usual. So first of all, if you're watching the show, before we get into today's topic, smash the like button right now. Destroy that shit like a Hollywood marriage. Just bam, knock it out of the park. Much appreciated. Second, take the green pill and go to patreon.com/RedmanGroup, or look underneath the video description. You'll see a link to Patreon. I would also recommend you join the Redman group on Reddit, except we've been banned, which is fucking gay.
Jesus.
There's still a link there, but that will be removed soon because we're fucking banned, and that's not going to change, it looks like. Other than that, we appreciate you guys' support. Super chats are very welcome during the show. Anything you do like that, we will definitely get to the question, in the group chat here. Later in the show, we've also did call-ins through Donovan. We'll have the phone number present, and that will be later in the show. We'll make an announcement for it. And fuck yeah, thanks for tuning in today's show. Let's dig into today's topic. Carl, do you want to lead off with a discussion about Captain Pickup Artist Neil Strauss and what's going on in his life lately?
Oh yeah, that was kind of an expected thing. It's been kind of a classical Neil Strauss train wreck. I mean, Neil has one of these habits where he gets really, really enmeshed with the communities that he gets involved with. So like he went into pickup and he got, well, first he was on tour buses writing biographies about bands, and he got really into that community. Then he got into the story of the game, where he was going to learn to pick up women with the old seduction community, which for all its virtues had a lot of vices as well. I think I can't remember which one of you I talked about it, but a lot of the guys he talks about in the book seem like they have a nice cornucopia of personality disorders and psychological issues, from the guy who decided to drop out of game and just fuck Mexican prostitutes in Tijuana instead, to Mystery having a mental breakdown in the house because his one-itis fell apart, to Neil.
Tyler Durden, I think, has Asperger's. I think he's verified on video. I don't think it's like super strong, but he's definitely, I'm pretty sure he's confirmed it, like 99%.
Well, let me just say that if Tyler Durden doesn't have a diagnosis, then he has a problem. And
yeah.
Then there is, let's see, there was Mr. and there's Neil, who found his perfect dream girl at the end of the game, and that led to his whole case with, game doesn't work, I need to go and be, let's call the Playboy to Patriarch transition. And then she dumped his ass 6 months after the book came out.
Yep.
And so I think he's just kind of, and then he wrote the Preppers book, which I haven't read, but from what I've gathered on it, he got really into the prepping mindset and felt terrified that the world was going to end. So he just strikes me, from an observer and someone who's read a lot of his work, he just seems like someone who has
a borderline.
He has in a case, almost borderline approach, because he adapts himself to whatever community he's a part of. To some degree, and gets really involved with it, and that's the exact way a borderline does. She becomes whatever you expect her to be. So it's like the extreme version of the 5 people you were around the most.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see if he, because he did that mock ceremony where he burned his old style persona. So it's going to be interesting to see if he resurrects that, or if he goes in another direction, because I think it would. Because for all his negatives, Neil always came out with really solid pickup material, and his opinion openers are some of the best ones I've ever seen, and they're really effective until everyone learned about them in the game and started. He got beaten harder than an aspiring actress in Hollywood. But
he's very intelligent, like no doubt. But yeah, he's a super blue pill. Like he's still the AFC he was when he started writing the game and found the pickup community. Like that fundamentally hasn't changed. The mechanics of his stuff, I think, have changed. Like I'm sure he knows how to socialize a lot better than he did 15 years ago or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's still, I think that's why you've seen him get divorced. If you look at the pictures too, there's some pictures of him recently with his wife. I think before the divorce or whatever was going on recently. And it's all this beta tell stuff that you'd see. Anybody could pick apart with some body language stuff. She's leaning away from him. She's pushing off of him, like all this very basic shit.
I
And
would you can get more beta tells than a pink bra in a public picture.
I always worry about using beta to mean bad like you guys do. Because, I mean, in case it's clearly codependency, maybe a bit of a borderline personality.
yeah,
But I do want to just make sure the viewers know when we say, like, beta from a red pill perspective is just comfort. So if you're in a relationship, the thing that keeps her from getting so anxious that she just leaves, that's the comfort part. So he clearly doesn't have that either because he's not keeping the girls around.
Yeah. I should probably say too, blue pill more so than beta, but there's definitely elements of both. And I agree too. Beta is not like a bad. It's not like you're a beta piece of shit, unless you're a male feminist, in which case you've like become a traitor and you are a piece of shit. But yeah, I agree. Beta is like a horrible thing. And yeah, people, everyone wants to fucking remap what it means and stuff. Like just like alpha. Like alpha is whatever I think's fucking good today, or like whatever my philosophy, like religion says.
Oh, it's fucking brutal when you hear it.
Yeah, it's every time too. It's the same shit, dude. Like over and over and over. It reminds me of the monetization arguments now in the red pill. It's like,
oh god,
these arguments have played out 1,000 fucking times in every community, including in the manosphere, including in the pickup community, which obviously was a disaster. But that's because you had guys like Neil Strauss running it, or leading the pack blindly.
It's a great thing about Rollo, isn't it? Do you notice that? Oh, every time something comes up, he's like, "Oh, here's what happened in 2003 and 2011."
Yeah, he knows his history, man.
Yeah.
He
knows his
history repeats itself, of course. So yeah, Neil Strauss is getting divorced. It reminds me a lot too. I think Tucker Max will be down that pipeline as well.
Yep.
Rollo has a great post called "The Purple Pill," where Tucker's at the head of it, but you could have easily put Neil Strauss at the top of it. He could have been the poster child for that post. And yeah, it's the same shit. These guys, they're all hardcore. They do all these books. They're all, they get all this glitz and glam. They burn their dark shadow self. Neil Strauss kills off Style. Well, I guess who's coming back? I'm sure Styles gonna be coming back in 6 months.
There you go.
Yeah, when he's paying out alimony and child support for the next 20 years.
Yeah, it'll be like a Kiss reunion concert. But one thing I want to do, because you brought up Tucker Max and Neil Strauss, and that actually leads in something that I had in my show notes for way later, which is the development, because Tucker is the natural guy. He's kind of always been good with women. I was a fan of his back in 2000, 2002 when I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell came out.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he never studied any game or anything. He's kind of the natural guy. Neil had to go in and actually study game, but they still have the blue pill perspectives. And I think that's because one of the things that's often overlooked, we talk a lot about the risk, of children with dynamite when it comes to guys who learn game and who do not learn about women. And normally you get a lot of the natural guys that they go through a natural development where they start early, like 13, 14, they start running game on girls, some even younger. And as that result, they have like 6, 7 years of a head start with most other guys when they get into game, because few guys get into game before they're like in their early 20s or something, when they head off to college or something. But some of them end up going through this, it's a similar path, because the naturals never learn the negative side of women, because they never really see that, because they bail too quickly, or they have relationships that aren't train wrecky, and there's no more nobody's a bigger sanctimonious cunt than the guy who married his high school sweetheart and stayed together with her for 45 years. That guy thinks he knows everything about women on one sample size.
He smoked for 40 years and he doesn't have cancer, so get on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look, I'll say this as far as, and Carl makes a very good point. I've got two very good friends of mine. One I've mentioned before, his name is Paul. He lives in Atlanta. Good looking guy, underwear model looks. The guy's like 6'3", blonde hair, blue eyes, etc., etc. He doesn't know anything about women. He thinks girls are great. Like you hear him talk about it all the time. Yeah, I mean, people say that girls are not made of sugar, spice, and everything nice. I don't see it that way. Well, of course not. You always get the best of women when you're a good looking guy. Listen, no hate, no big deal, but that's how it is. My take on this whole Neil Strauss thing is pickup artists, PUAs, they don't know about the red pill. They're not red pill guys. They know how to get the girl. They know how to fuck the girl. Listen, as far as pussy acquisition is concerned, those guys are the best in the business, but they don't know what to do afterwards. And Rollo and I talked about this at length on my show yesterday when he talked about the fact that a lot of guys are, on the pickup artist side, some of those guys are suicidal. I think Mystery was supposed to be suicidal because he can't find his ideal. He doesn't understand he understands the sexual nature of women, but what a lot of guys don't realize is that anybody can get lucky. Okay, anybody can, and that's not to say that fucking hot girls is easy, but listen, every once in a while the stars are aligned, the moon is aligned, she's in her ovulatory phase. You maybe look or smell like her ex alpha widow type boyfriend, and you might get lucky that night. The pickup artist community, that's over with. RSD is done. And the reason why is because girls have the internet too. Okay, listen, man, dude, like you're not going to impress girls with fluffy feather hats and fucking black painted fingernails anymore. That shit doesn't work. Girls see that coming from a mile away. And I think Carl said this earlier. A lot of these pickup guys, these pickup artists, these infield videos, they're paid actresses. Like, you honestly think you can just walk up to a hot girl and start talking to her, and all of a sudden you get her phone number 6 minutes or less? Does it happen sometimes? Absolutely. But it's a no. I can
do it pretty consistently.
Well, yeah, but it's a well-known trade secret that this is what these guys do. And if I had the money to do that, I would do the same thing. One last thing. You notice that there are a lot of guys who are in the sort of the manosphere-ish bubble who seem to change trends like you change underwear. Okay, so the political thing, the MAGA thing is hot right now, so I'm going to do this. The pickup artist community is hot right now, so I'm going to reinvent myself and do that, etc., etc. Guys like Mike Cernovich, Neil Strauss, Tyler Durden, Tucker Max, Julian Blank. One thing I love about the Red Man Group is all of us here, we're the same. Dude, I've been talking the same shit since 2013. I haven't gone back to blue pill. Maybe I got it wrong. No, fuck no, dude. Red pill till I fucking die, because it is the truth. I'm not, if all of a sudden the red pill doesn't get as much publicity or notoriety, guess what? It's still going to be fucking TSR live, because we need to keep these bitches in check out here. There's no going back. And I think it was maybe Tucker Max that Rolo talked about. He wrote a book, and he was with his wife and his kid, and like she's the missing link. No, fuck that. You cannot trust someone who changes their ideologies like the seasons. You gotta stick with. Listen, whether you agree with them or not, we can all sit here and talk shit about girls like Anita Sarkeesian and Jessica Valenti. Guess what, man? They're gonna be feminists till they die. At least they believe in what they talk about. But I don't trust bitches who used to be feminists who are all of a sudden now make America great again and trad cons. Same thing with guys. You need to understand whoever you follow, whoever you decide to consume this stuff from, you need to make sure that they're consistent. Go back to their past, go back to their history. They may change a few fundamental things every now and again, because we do reserve the right to change our mind. We get older, we learn new things. But if the baseline fundamentals keep changing and they're bipolar, they're polar opposites, you need to take that stuff with a grain of salt.
Well, yeah, their beliefs are incongruent. I mean, there's a reason that Roller wrote that post on Tucker Max being purple pill.
Right.
If anything, he might even just be kind of like a blue pill alpha, like a natural kind of Chad that wrote some book, and then his blue pill beliefs came out when he got that chick, whenever he knocked that chick up or decided to put a ring on that chick.
Oh my God.
But I'm skeptical that'll work out too, just like Neil Strauss. It'll probably play out a little differently for Tucker than Neil. I think Tucker has a much stronger frame than Neil does. But Jonathan?
I was just going to say, look, dude, I keep it very simple, and I keep it very blunt with you guys. So look at Neil Strauss. Does he pass the I'm afraid of this guy? Yes or no?
Can he kick my ass test?
And can he kick my ass? Am I afraid of this guy? Neil Strauss is like 5'2", bald, like 140 pounds, and it's like a squeaky little voice. He doesn't even know that the only reason he got tons of pussy is not because he was a PUA guy. It's because he was famous. He was on television. He had connections. He was seeing celebrities. That's why he was able to get girls. He was not able to get girls because of some fucking magical skill he had. He had fame and fortune and money, and that's why women come, right? A lot of guys who are famous, who are blue pill, they don't really understand what's going on with women. They get validated from their belief system because they don't realize that the women are there because for the fame, the fortune, and the status, not for them. So he may bring her flowers on the first date, and she'll be like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Thank you so much. But the reality is, you could bring her a fucking dick in a box on the first date. But if you're rich and famous, she's going to be like, oh my God, thank you so much,
Well, I would bet Neil was getting laid before he got famous back in Project Hollywood. From what I've heard, he did too, but it was probably from like a social robot perspective. If you remember in his book, he wrote about that stuff.
He was touring with the people too before, though. He was touring with bands, and he had connections to like rich and famous people.
Yeah.
So does that help with your question there, Smart M? I think Smart M was his name. Yeah, Smart M RN.
Yeah, he had a super chat question. Yeah.
Yeah, J-Roglyphic says you can sell anything to a desperate person. A lot of these PUA guys, they capitalize on these would-be incels like churches capitalize on downtrodden people, right? Like, oh, you just got play. And, listen, a lot of people say the red pill is the same way, but what we offer long-term solutions. This isn't a Band-Aid, man. Like we're trying to fix everything. We're trying to fix your soul. Yeah, we're going to teach you how to get girls in the short term, but we're also going to teach you how to keep them in the long term, if that's what you decide to do.
Yes, Andres 305. You see charlatans like this in politics constantly. Thanks for the super chat, man. And you're 100% right.
Yeah. Let's actually pause real quick and get off Neil Strauss before we just murder his entire reputation here.
Christ, yeah.
If there's anything left, right? So how did each of us find pickup community or the very idea of game itself? I'm someone who found the pickup community long before I found the red pill, before I found any other part of the manosphere. Mine was just in 2005. I got invited, or I brought this chick out. Shockingly, had this really hot chick, agree to go to a homecoming dance with me at school, which scared the shit out of me. I was like, holy shit, she actually said she's going to go with me. And then I just Googled, how to pick up or how to dance at a nightclub or something. And I found fast seduction, found like pickup community, and the rest is history. In terms of building 21 studios and all the shit I did in the pickup community. So it was a very simple entry. Just Google, found, MASF, fast seduction, and immediately found Ross Jeffrey's stuff, all the pickup articles, the guides, all the shit. But how did each of you find it? Like, what is the basic, 30-second origin story from how you found it? Before that, I didn't understand talking to women at all, and it was super frustrating, obviously.
Truthfully, I just got tired of banging 5s and 6s. Like after I found the red pill, I started the self-improvement thing, and things started to progress. But I got tired of banging 5s and 6s. I lived in Vegas. That's the most concentrated area of hot girls around, and I wanted to fuck those girls. That's how I found the pickup community, and it was very effective.
So you found the red pill first, okay?
I found the red pill first. Just to find out what women are thinking and this and that and the other. And I started with the self-improvement thing. And then I said, you know what? I'm starting to get more female attention, but I want to up my quality of women that I'm fucking.
Gotcha. Good. Ryan?
Yeah, for me, it was from the time in the military. I was always kind of like an unsuccessful guy when I was younger. I joined the military at 23, and I was sailing so much, about 180 days a year. So that's half my year is already gone, 24/7 work. And then for the 6 months I was home, I still had the 9 to 5 jobs with the military plus duty watches every 2 weeks. So I had very little personal time at all. And the dating was such a slog that I had to spend so much time on individual girls to get them. I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for this. So it was essentially going to be a MGTOW. The only thing that changed was somebody got me the DVD of the Mystery Method, if you can remember back in the day.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't afford that. I wanted to buy it, though.
So it was kind of cool. And then I found out that it could actually make dating fun again. So it wasn't so much about me getting laid and getting frustrated that I wasn't. It was just gamifying it. Same as how you track your runs on a running app or track your workouts on Jaffet. So, and then once I started treating it like a game, I tapped into my whole childhood video game thing, and I learned how to run game there. And it was just the greatest thing ever. It's basically a hobby, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's what it has to be.
Jonathan, what was your entry point to pick up?
Well, like I was never like a sexless guy. Like, I was since I was in like 13, 14, I was hooking up with girls and, in the church and in school. But I just figured out that through my studies of psychology, because that's why I started studying psychology when I was 16. And I looked at the animal kingdom and I was like, there is a solid methodology for how animals attract each other. And like humans are just animals. So I think that's the same thing here. Like if aliens came down and observed us, they would be able to discover like patterns of successful attraction versus non-successful attraction. And I just started looking in the internet like most of the guys here have. And then I found PUA and I looked into this stuff and I was like, these guys are fucking dorks. Like that guy, I would see like these skinny guys with glasses and like frosted hair and like just like real frail looking dudes talking about, getting chicks. And I just knew it was bullshit because I had so much real life experience. So then I kept digging and then I found like the red pill and I found different stuff. I got caught up in the Tucker Max stuff, started believing it was real. And, just when you get on the internet looking for answers, you eventually find the truth if you keep looking.
Carl?
Well, I did a Google search as well. I can't remember what, but I found Alt Seduction Fast, and then I found David D'Angelo, and then I found the Mystery Method. And I didn't find the red pill. I didn't actually know that it existed until like 2005, 2015, 2016, right when I started writing the blog. And the thing is, if I'd found that back in 2005, 2006, I probably wouldn't be divorced now. In fact, I probably would have never been married in the first place.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I'm just waiting for who I can sue to get my money back from that fucking divorce.
Yeah. It sounds like your story is similar to mine in terms of finding the pickup community long before you found the red pill. I found the red pill in 2013, but I didn't understand. I thought it was just like some Reddit community, just some like random men's community. I'm like, oh, they like our videos, cool. Years ago. But I even found Rolo's blog in 2015. I was like, oh, who's this fucking keyboard jockey? This guy, either this guy's awesome or he's a complete keyboard jockey. But then, of course, it all worked out in the end.
Well, I think it's actually good if you start off with finding the red pill, because I think PUA is a solid methodology for picking up girls. And, it might seem like we're shitting on pickup here. And, to be honest, I think learning pickup and learning game is very important. So I think it's probably one of the cardinal things you have to learn once you get involved here. But when you find one piece of that without the other one, you find the explosives, but you have no explosives training. So you might lose a hand or your balls or something pretty quickly, because once you go and you throw up that, especially like Mystery's entire method is more or less provoking guys to shit and girls to shit test him so he can show Amuse mastery and do a display of higher value. And, that drives him through the roof. But the downside of that is, what he's done, he's sat down, he's thought, okay, what are all the things they can say to me, and thought of a comeback for everything of it, or a reaction to it that is a display of higher value. And that's similar to, a psychopath or a narcissist. And what happens with that is you become a magnet for, BPD girls like my ex-wife, or, psychopathic chicks like your ex-wife. And you have absolutely no concept of how to deal with them. And that's why I recommended Joe Navarro's book to you in the first place, because he's the first one that actually breaks it down in a way that you can actually apply the psychological knowledge in a real-life pickup scenario.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he actually emailed me a little while ago. I need to get back to him, about his speeches and stuff. Yeah, this is actually... Go ahead, Donovan,
Say this quickly. Pickup game has its utilities. I mean, pickup game, to me, that's one of the most challenging parts of the red pill. If you can get good at picking up girls out in the field, maintaining frame in a relationship, punishing the bad, rewarding the good, that stuff isn't easy, but it comes easier if you become proficient at talking to perfect strangers and learning to fuck them in the same day. So in terms of creating your iron will, your confidence, approach anxiety, things of that nature, some of those skills do carry over in your dealings with women, but not many. I actually saw a really good analogy. Somebody said in the chat that learning pickup. Oh, he said learning only pickup is like learning how to take people down in a fight, but having no jujitsu to know what to do when the fight hits the floor. That's an excellent analogy. So if you're just looking to learn a life of just fucking girls one time and moving on to the next one, fine. But we as men, we are designed to seek out meaningful relationships with women. Whether we want to admit it or not, this is how we're naturally designed. And this is where a lot of these PUA guys end up in the shit, because they're like, okay, well, I kind of like this one, but I don't really know what to do from here.
So you and Carl just both hit the nail on the head, I think, for where I wanted to take this whole conversation. So the next phase I want to get into in this conversation is basically this. And I think it's a very good way to encapsulate what both of you guys said. The difference between, or what the pickup community taught men, from my experience, what I saw with literally thousands of men that I talked with in person, online, stuff like that, it teaches men, like Mystery would teach men in himself about pickup, not women, which is something I didn't understand until I found the red pill. That didn't even occur to me, that there was a massive difference between the two, which is fucking stupid looking back on it. But I didn't know any better. And I think a lot of guys that follow RSD and what's left of the disintegrating pickup community is it's guys who are obsessed with pickup and only want to understand pickup. And that's its origins were there too, I think. Right. It wasn't about, there's some exceptions to that along the way. But I think the majority of it, especially during my time in the 2000s and then 2010s a little bit, it was about picking up women, not understanding women in totality. And that's what the red pill does. And I agree that the red pill really should come first.
I agree.
100%. 100%.
I'm 100% on that, but with some caveats that obviously a lot of guys that find the red pill could just become like keyboard jockeys, never get out of the house, pick up women, approach them, bang them. Obviously, they could go red pill and then get sucked into MGTOW too. In which case, now taking like the black pill or something, right? There's a lot of obstacles along the way with that. It's not. I don't think it's as easy to say like find the red pill, read it, and then apply it, and you're going to be fine. Technically, that could work, but a lot of guys are going to come in. They're going to find the red pill because they're fucked up in the first place, or they were fed blue pill propaganda and they accepted it, and they now have to undo that shit, which is going to be difficult. Well, but yeah, I do agree also that, yeah.
I was going to say they're kicking the can down the road. They're not actually dealing with the underlying psychological issues. They're just covering it over. And then just like I did, where I was gamifying dating, they just take that to the extreme because they're good at it, but they're not good at these other things. So they avoid those, and then they just focus on what makes them feel good. It's no different than porn and video games and Xbox and weed. It's just a different vice. If you use it bad.
You can also tell when a guy is a meathead red pill guy when they just found the red pill but they don't really they don't know that they don't understand it fully. This is the guy that says, I don't care how hot she is. If she fucks up even one time, she's fucking done. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, come on.
I'm guilty of that sometimes.
No, right, exactly.
Yeah,
right?
But you barely invested in the girl.
I don't want anything from these bitches. I kick her right out of my bed after I bust the nut. She's fucking gone. Next. Get the fuck out of here. You don't know shit.
So yeah, with pickup and the red pill though, I think if the main difference between the pickup community and the red pill community is one teaches you to understand women, one teaches you to understand pickup only, which is just it's not a tiny slice of understanding women, but it's not the whole thing. It's a minority of it. It's not even half of it. And it's dangerous. We talked about that before the show a little bit, and I think even now during it. I mean, Neil Strauss is an example of children with dynamite. He might even have a lot of dynamite in this case. Now it's blowing up in his face in the form of a divorce where he has a kid. That's going to be child support and alimony, I guarantee you, for a long time. And it's going to suck.
I also think it's one of those cases that a lot of guys get into this from a wrong perspective, that they find the red pill or the pickup community because they want to get that one girl. They want to get that one-itis girl that they're really into. And then they learn just enough to get that one girl. They overinvest. That might work for a year or two or three or whatever. And they find themselves down the road slipping back into their old habits, and they've learned just exactly what they needed to know in that moment. And then they don't go the full way with it. And then you end up with someone who might have the ability to sleep with women, but have no idea how to manage a woman in the longer term. Or you may find the guy who gets really into self-improvement and, increases his SMV by like 3 or 4 points in a year or two.
Well, I want to add this. Go ahead.
And then suddenly he lets himself slip back because he was doing that as a means to an end to get the girl he was after. So once he has that girl, the motivation to keep his value up is gone. And I think that was an interesting angle that I was looking at here. If I had one guy who just found the red pill, and what would I tell him to do as, his first wobbly steps out on the ice, like, the Bambi of the red pill? What would I tell him to do? And I'm kind of split between self-improvement and game, just for the sake of, okay, if the guy has a decent SMV to begin with, like if you remember the show The Pickup Artist on VH1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The guy who always won that show was the guy who was the least of the train wrecks. It was the good-looking, tall guy who was in reasonably good shape, but he had a horrible haircut, bad glasses, and dressed like a high school teacher or some shit. So they dressed him up, they gave him a haircut, and gave him contacts, and that guy was a strong 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
And if you're in that position where, you have some small shit you just have to fix, and then you can go, then I would just start with game and do the self-improvement in parallel. If you're 300 pounds, have no social skills, a serious video game problem, and no money, I would probably start fixing that first. And then as you start to get some traction on those big problems, you can start working the game in there. Because doing 100 approaches, if you shower once every 2 weeks, you're 150 pounds overweight, and you dressed like Jabba the Hutt, those 100 approaches are not going to work for you.
Probably not.
I do like the idea of performance objectives, though. It's something we learned in fleet school when we were teaching. So you're right. If you're a fat fuck, work on not being a fat fuck. But if you do, let's say every now and then just test the waters with like an approach a week or just some arbitrary number, just so you can kind of see how your improvement changes. You'll notice one day as you get to 300, girls don't want to see you. 250, they don't want to see you. 200, they don't want to see you. Then you start hitting like 180, 185. And all of a sudden that same approach that got you shot down, you're seeing a change there. But you are right. You can't be doing thousands of approaches to get that same kind of feedback loop. It has to be, it's like weighing yourself. You can't weigh yourself every day. Just maybe like once a week so you can see your transition having some progress. Yep. That's my thoughts on it anyway.
I want to move the conversation on a little bit to kind of schools of thought and pickup, which was kind of was a huge thing back in the day with the pickup community. It's faded off now, but back then, I think if I had to nail down, so back in my days when I found the pickup community, I think Carl would be. This is probably your experience as well. It was very tribal, even though the pickup community itself was only one part of the manosphere. Even then, it was very tribal. Like it was whoever you joined was like your tribe, and that was like RSD Nation, that was Fast Seduction. That was the Mr. Method forums, which became Love Systems, all this different shit, right? Then they had like layers all over the world, like all over the place. And people were very even territorial about it. It was strange looking back on it. But also, I think the guys really believed it. They treated it a lot like, probably because of the game, they treated it a lot like, martial arts and stuff. Like, what school do you follow? And it was like Ross Jeffries or David D'Angelo or, Cocky Funny and like whatever the methodology was. And I think, and now this is my opinion, I don't know if you guys agree or not, but my opinion, part of that is they didn't understand the fundamentals. So it's kind of what we were talking about earlier. They didn't understand women, and there wasn't a push, unfortunately, in that pickup community to understand women. That was maybe 10 to 20% of it at best. The primary push was just pick up. And I think that's why you had these schools develop, which are like way over-focused and don't address like how to actually learn game and internalize it in a useful, fundamental, long-term way. So I wanted to hear what you guys kind of thought about the different schools, which obviously have faded off now. But it's still a question that people think when they find it, especially with some normie who doesn't understand the manosphere. They see, they see some rerun of the VH1 show or some shit, or they see a video by Tyler and they're like, do cocaine and buy this fucking new program I have, and you'll murder women on Instagram, or it's not murder women, murder pussy.
Then. Yeah, you got to become the man, dude. Like you may get some pussy, right? And I say this, you may get some pussy by luck or being good looking and saying a couple cute one-liners, but in order to really have true understanding, you have to like internalize, like being a man and being a leader. Like my go-to reference to really understanding game and women in just life is watch old school black pimps from the back in the day. There's a documentary called American Pimp on Netflix. Old school black men are the guys, in my opinion, with the most razor sharp understanding of a female's psychology and game. And also Patrice O'Neal from,
Yes!
Patrice O'Neal is the fucking man. Like that guy, if I had to choose any school of thought, I'm on the Patrice O'Neal train 100%. Like I stamp my approval on that guy night and day.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of RMG Curry Mode 1. I can't say that I'm like super well versed in it, but people consistently ask me on Twitter, they're like, what kind of game do you follow, Dream? And I'm like, just do whatever I want. But if anything, it would probably be Mode 1 would be the one I would subscribe to the best. But even that, it's just, my game today at this point, and I wanted to say this too, and I want to hear what you guys thought about it, but since finding the red pill, dude, that's been pouring gasoline on game for me. Like the minute I was doing well in between, so I got, split up with Medusa, that was like early 2016. I was banging girls off Tinder, banging a fucking porn star that was like super hot down in Miami. And that was before finding the red pill. So I was like doing really well. And then finding the red pill was like a holy fuck moment in several ways, obviously. And then, digesting it, learning to understand it, learning how to apply it. But it really was like, even now, it's still like the primary, if I had to say anything, like the most useful thing you can do to pick up women is understand the red pill. Yes. Obviously the experience and all that shit is super important. The mechanics of it, being intelligent with it, the black pimp stuff like you're talking about back in the day, that all makes a shit ton of sense to me. But it's really, for me, the biggest thing I've ever found, the best thing or closest thing to a magic pill is the red pill. Like dead serious. Like finding that, understanding hypergamy and respecting how deep that runs in female psychology. It makes, dude, from approaching to pulling to fucking them to, to managing them, everything. it makes everything snap into place, or at least it did for me. And I think the vast majority of guys, in my opinion, will have the same experience when they like find the red pill, they take it and they accept it, and get through the stages of grief and all that. So what do you guys think about that? You know, the red pill applied to game, or I mean, it is game. You know, it's the red pill applied, but how do you think it applies to actual pickup skills and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's just. Go ahead, Donovan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, there are a lot of similarities, and I think when you put the cart before the horse, so to speak, you can have a hard time. So if you try to learn game, if you learn pickup game before you learn the red pill, you're gonna run into difficulties either way. But if when you learn just pickup game without red pill awareness, you're just reciting lines. That's all you're doing. You're just doing a script. So when a girl says, "Hey, are you going to buy me a drink?" your instant response isn't, "Oh my God, she asked me to buy her a drink." Now, what did Tucker Max say? What did Mystery say? What did he say in that infield that worked every time? Then you use that. Then you use that infield method that you saw, and oh my God, all of a sudden it doesn't work. But when you take the red pill and you understand why she's asking these things, you understand the conceptual. You understand the conceptual fundamentals of shit testing, why women do it, when they do it, the reasons they do it. Then you can respond. You can respond accordingly. Yeah, sure. Right after you buy me one, right? And I think it's one of these deals. And I'm in a sort of a debate here with this guy, Chris Unknown. He is of the mind, and I think a lot of guys feel the way he does. He's of the mind that if somebody doesn't have infields, right? If they don't have infields of them, you know, picking up girls, then it's not validating it. So if you're teaching it, you should have infields doing it, much like with martial arts. You should, you know, show your technique. Martial arts is not pickup artistry. There are similarities, but just because, listen, I've never done infield videos and I'm successful, right? I mean, listen, you go to any of my social media feeds, you see me with, you know, hot, pretty girls, this and that and the other. That's just how it is. What do you guys think in terms of red pill and game is concerned? What my opinion is, you don't need infields. They help, but infields now can be staged. You know, there are models. Infields don't prove a goddamn thing to me.
No, what proves it to me is frame. Like when I met Donovan, when I met you, you had the strongest handshake, I think, of anyone I've ever met in my life. And I was like, yeah, this guy definitely knows how to fuck women because he has a really strong handshake.
Right.
To the point that it stood, I'm dead serious. It's the strongest handshake I've ever felt in my life. Same with Ryan. Dude, Ryan's frame is like really, really strong. No, seriously. And that's how I know you have game. Even, you know, Jack Murphy was another one who stood out to me this year, meeting him, watching him interact with Nelly Bowles, watching him interact with his girlfriend, the little red hen. I was like, this guy absolutely has game because I can watch and see how he interacts with women. Even one-on-one or even other men too. Like the frame you have meeting people, the eye contact, the handshake, the way you walk, the way you talk. That to me is that's how you really spot game in somebody and like they're actually good and have internalized it, not the social robots that were back in the pickup days and even now, like these little RSD little robots that run around.
They're just there's just copy and paste dweebs. That's all they are. Like, you know, the realest pimp, you can put him in any fucking situation and be like, go hunt. This is a fucking anime convention. This is a telemarketers convention. This is a fucking
go get
church.
That pussy. Sick 'em.
Go. You got 34 hours, 36 hours, whatever. Go get some pussy. Go. And that guy will probably make something happen versus a guy who just like reads scripts. He's like, do you believe in magic? Okay, no. Do you believe in destiny? Like, and then also girls' game is evolving as well. And that shit is just cringe nowadays. It's like,
I saw you making fun of it the other day, I think, right? On Instagram, or somebody was.
I stay trolling fucking PUAs.
Ryan, did you want to hop in here? I know you had some comments here.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a longer one. So I always joke how I'm the only guy who never found the red pill because of a woman. I'm also the only guy, I think, who's found success from it, not women related either. It's going to be a bit of a story here. So there's this thing called the deep narrative. If you think of your life, I mean, we basically frame the world as a bunch of stories. If you think of the Christian guy, he thinks about how the Bible and the community and all that stuff goes together. We generally learn these stories either from our parents when we were too young or through trauma. Now, for me, it was a combination of the parents kind of teaching me sociopath life. So that's why it was very easy to take this. But also the military, which is very good at manufacturing trauma. That's kind of how the basic processing works in basic training. You're deprived of sleep, constantly yelled at, and you eventually grow up from it. So had I followed the ones I was given before, I probably would have ended up right now at 210 pounds, heavily drinking, taking SSRIs, being that jaded sailor waiting out his pension. And I know this happens because I've got friends who are just one or two mistakes in. They got the wrong girl pregnant. They had the wrong posting. They got into a bunch of small things. And then because they have their story, they would rather stick with the one they know as opposed to taking a risk changing it. So through some trauma in my life, I actually was able to rewire it. And the big advantage I talk about the red pill on, and I know this is like, bear with me. I know this is faggy as shit, but
no, fag it up, dude.
yeah, well, you learn to be pragmatic. That's why we always call it a praxeology, and it's just like that. So we're gonna have our own stories anyway, and this is like the nihilistic pathway where you start as a nihilist saying, "Oh, nothing really matters anymore. Fuck it." So then with the red pill, you start to frame things differently, where you go, "Well, if nothing matters, then what should I do?" And then you decide on things that are important to you. The what's in it for me. So when you're approaching girls, if she starts getting bipolar on you, you walk away because you know what's in it for you. You know where that's going, and you build a story in your head so you know how these stories end. And then that was the big benefit for me on the red pill. So I was at my lowest. Things were going bad. People were kicking me when I'm down. And I had two choices. I could stick to the narrative that I was given, and it would have basically destroyed me, turned me into like the nice little plow horse. Or take a couple risks, redevelop one based on a lot of the things that the guys who had already failed had written down and done. And I couldn't even fathom not having this around at this point. And I really do enjoy this space because you can see, like Rolo posts it all the time where he's walking guys back from suicide, or some of you guys will find like all of our inboxes are full of guys like, "Oh, my wife was a horrible cunt and you basically saved me, and she wasn't a cunt, she was just frustrated," or "I was dating this girl and she was basically killing me and I finally had the courage to get out of it." And it's, as much as I like hearing these guys start some artificial drama with us, I just keep those in mind, and that's why I'm here and I do what I do.
Yeah, so goddamn right, man. Guys will die without it. You're right.
Right.
Yeah, so I always joke around too that it's the biggest beneficial bait and switch for men. You come for pussy and you leave with self-actualization.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you got
to rant over.
I just want to say this too, just talking about everything in general. I don't really know of guys coming to the red pill and be like, "Oh, I walked away from the red pill." I don't know, because I feel like guys always end up coming back. Like maybe they'll come and then they will learn a little bit, get some pussy, and then kind of have like an internal mental struggle and like walk away, but they always end up coming back. But like people typically forever walk away from like PUA and shit when they figure out it's garbage. And also traditional blue pill media, like bring her flowers, etc.
Well, I've seen for a long time, I'll say this, and it probably happens in the red pill, but to a much lesser extent. In the pickup community, you constantly had guys who'd find it and they'd go out, they'd, interact with the other men in the community, like go out winging shit. They'd pick up women, they'd get better, they'd get phone numbers, they get makeouts, they start pulling a little bit. Surprise, like the second or third or fourth chick they pull, they start dating that chick. And then all of a sudden, they fucking ghost on the pickup community. And then sure as shit, we're like, yeah, the guy's gonna be back in like 6 months. And sure as shit, they'd be back in 6 months or 9 months or a year or whatever. So I think in the red pill, I'm sure you have that as well. It's just probably the percentage of that happening is probably way less. Just because it's a lot more hardcore. It's like Ryan was saying, it's a really awesome space. It's super fucking savage. Like, I love it.
That's why I think it's good. And that's why I think, like, hey, the red pill subreddit is quarantined. The red man subreddit is deleted. Like these days, you're going in the right direction if you're getting censored and banned.
Yeah, and our seduction was a similar sized community. It's still just doing fine, of course, because they don't threaten the gynocracy. They don't threaten the feminist empire with Darth Vader Hillary at the head of it. The red pill does. The red pill is very dangerous in a very positive way. It's dangerous to the feminist establishment in the way that men are treated like dog shit today and told to feel like dog shit, and they are dog shit.
I want to talk back quickly about Neil Strauss and Tucker Max. Any red pill man with rock solid game is never going to give any woman legal leverage over him with a marriage contract or anything along those lines. The guy won't do it. He won't do it.
Dude, even before I found the red pill, I didn't fucking do that. That was in part due to the MRAs, though. I found their community, and they were talking about how fucked up marriage was and all this stuff from a legal perspective. And I'm like, man, like, yeah, they're 100% right. Like, whatever. I'm not an attorney, but whatever the fuck's going on with this contract is fucking horrible. I look at it from a business perspective too.
Yeah.
So that was I'm really happy I actually found the MRAs get laughed at a lot for being blue pill Sure, but I'm very thankful actually that they existed and taught me to stay the fuck out of illegal marriage in America. I was like, nope.
Yep.
Even with BPD hooker, all that shit. So ultra
This is
manipulative.
going to be a bit of a long rant here because I have a lot of notes I want to go through. Now, you started off with the tribalness of schools of pickup, Anthony. I think that was natural because pickup back in the day was so extremely detailed. Because if you had all the like the London Day Game model is kind of the same ilk. You have a model and you're supposed to follow that model to the T, and pickup even had scripted lines for every step of the model. I mean, I even noticed that with my Kino these days, that my Kino escalation is the same with every fucking girl because that's how I learned to do it back in 2000, 2002, and it works, so I just keep doing it. But so that's where the tribalness comes, because once you have something that's that specific, guys are going to, well, my school is better than yours. It's the same thing if you're training martial arts. You get the same kind of tribal shit, like, no, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the best. No, Krav Maga is the best. No, Muay Thai is the best. No, karate is the best. And you get the same tribalness, and no one's saying that, okay, that's why MMA did so well, too, because, well, just do all of it, and you'll kick the crap out of anyone.
Yeah. I wanted to comment, too, a little bit, like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's kind of the evolution game took, because it went from being extremely detailed, like how to fix a Honda motorcycle from 1983. And then it went to, okay, how motorcycles work. And then how does the internal combustion engine work? And then it got more and more abstract. And as you did that, you kind of get to the point where you don't rely on a script in the traditional sense of use this line at this point, but you kind of get a feeling for, okay, this is when I do something like this, or you repeat the same stories because you know they work, or you try a new story that works not as good as the one you were using before, so you go back to the other one. And over time, you develop kind of your own game style. And the problem with that is, you get into a point where you're trying new stuff all the time because you're getting bored with doing the same shit. And so you may have a situation where your success rate actually goes down. And I just think that comes down to how versatile and how adventurous you are, and not just trying new things in your game, but going after different women, different environment, different contexts. And I think that's where you get with the infields too, is that it's very, if I had a camera guy following me for a week and I came up with 3 really, really dynamite infields, that would sell probably a lot of pickup courses, but my success rate was shit because it took me like 140 hours to get 3 good infield videos.
Yeah, that's how a lot of the old videos I think were made. They would just cherry pick. They'd film endless amounts of approaches, and they just cherry picked a couple of them that went really well. And then they would show you, that 50 that went fucking complete dog shit.
Yeah. What's his name?
I think Krauser did a great expose on a guy, because my rule of thumb with a guy is, how real does this sound to me? Because if someone tells me, like when I did my stats for the month I spent, and it's not great according to a lot of keyboard jockeys on Twitter, but I'm happy with that as a starting point for using Tinder for the first time.
Yeah.
And if you say you spend 20 hours dating one week and you get 2 good leads and you get 1 lay off it, okay, that's a starting point, and that's not overly surprising. But if you have some guy telling you, oh yeah, I did 100 approaches, I got 80 numbers, and I ended up banging 50 of them, I'm going to be like, no, that doesn't sound probable. Or some guy's like, oh yeah, I went to Poland and did game for a month and I banged 16 virgins. I'm going to look at the guy and like, okay, how likely is it that 16?
God damn, that's a Muslim type shit, right?
Well, if the guy is like, okay, how likely is it that this guy is a guy that 16 girls who managed to hold on to their virginity until they were 18 found him so special that they same night that he got same night lace with him and they lost their virginity? That's not going to happen. He might have gotten 1. That's my thing with it.
Listen, Chris Unknown literally just put it in the chat. He said 1 in 10 is the best I've heard of. A good friend of mine by the name of Troy Francis. We used to be fellow writers on Return of Kings. Troy Francis is a PUA guy. He's from the UK, rock solid guy. I've done shows with him before. One of his best friends is a guy by the name of Paul Janka. You guys probably know who he is. Well, Paul Janka got married a couple of years back. Paul Janka famously had an 11% closing ratio, which means 11% of the women that he approached, he ended up sleeping with. If you're dude, listen, man. If you're closing at 11%, you are a fucking god. You are king fucking dingaling. And I'll put it to you like this. If you're good, if you're really good, here's how it normally works. If you approach 10 girls, okay, you're going to get 7 phone numbers if you're good. Of those 7 girls, 4 will respond to your text messages. Of the 4 that actually respond to your text messages, 2 of those girls will agree to a meetup and at least one of them will flake. And the one that doesn't flake, at that point, it's anybody's guess as to whether or not you're going to sleep with the girl, the stars being aligned, et cetera, et cetera. That's 1 out of 10. If you are closing 1 out of 10 girls that you're approaching, dude, you are king fucking Casanova. This is how difficult game is. Rustin Cole called me out. Mike Lowry, king dingaling. I didn't think anybody would catch that, but good catch there.
Yeah, so I'm at a point, actually, it's funny you bring up phone numbers. I know I've seen maybe Rolla and Rich or somebody talk about, like, what do I do for dates? And that was like a topic we talked about in the show. I think that's a little too expansive for this show, like running out of time.
Yeah.
But I'm at a point in my game, it being internalized and applying the red pill to where when I'm out, I don't even care about getting phone numbers. I'm looking for the pull. And to do that, I do the best guy I've ever seen is a male roommate and a former speaker at the convention. He spoke 3 times. Ratis. This guy's banged even more than Goldman. He's banged like 600 women or something crazy.
Damn.
This guy was a fucking hound. I mean, I lived with this guy he lived with me for like 8 months at Project Orlando. That was a thing, by the way, back in the day I did when I started the 21 Studios back then. But this guy mowed down like probably 60 women in a span of like 7 months, almost 10 women a month, just fucking on it, just every fucking day, just crushing it. And of course, the women were a very wide range: hot women, hideous women, ugly women, average women, fat women, skinny women, porn stars, like all kinds of crazy shit. This guy was a fucking animal. But the reason he was
I like
so
him
good,
already.
Oh yeah, you love him, dude. He's fucking wild. He's a wild animal. But the reason he was so good that we concluded, me and Socrates and a few of the guys that knew him, is that he had like a fucking radar for picking up IOIs from chicks that were like really strong but really subtle. He would tune into this shit, and the minute he saw it, he fucking beeline, like fast,
Body
like
language.
like
Body
3
language
seconds.
right there.
The body language, dude. But it wasn't even 3 second rule. It was like 1/3 of a second rule. He'd spot it, fucking on it, and it was really interesting
like
to
how
see
women
that.
have gaydar, right?
Yeah. It's a radar system. Yeah, exactly. Yep. But that's what I do today. Is when I'm out of like Cowboys or some bar in Orlando, whatever the fuck I'm doing. I used to be an approach machine. I would do fucking 10, 20 approaches a night, crazy amount of shit, right? Now I'll do like 1 or 2. I'm walking around and I'm scouting, and I'm like, I usually have like a MAGA hat on or something too, right? So I stand out. Everyone's fucking looking at it and shit. It's absolute beacon, yeah, exactly. But I'm just tuning for like that 1 or 2 girls will look at me in that certain way. And I'm thinking, like, where the fuck are they at? Who are they with? And I'll scan it real quick. The red pill, by the way, is huge for understanding like where the girl's at. Is any guys with her? Like, what the fuck's going on? I don't know where I was going with that, but it was pretty. Oh yeah, the date thing. Yeah, I don't even fucking go. I try to even go on dates.
With that, I have a similar thing with that, Anthony. That I'm mostly using various online channels these days to kind of funnel girls in.
Yeah,
and that's why I coined the term omni-channel game, because if you want to be really effective, you need to kind of do your approaches wherever it fits to do them. Like if you're out grocery shopping, it's day game. If you're at a bar, use night game. If you're on the bus or on the toilet, for that matter, go and do your Tinder swipes because you have nothing to lose. And then you go for the strongest leads. Like I've never had a girl who opened me not put out on the first date, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Any girl approaches you to bar is looking to get fucked or anything like that.
Yeah. And I also think the 7-hour myth is something we should mention here, because that was a famous thing for Mystery back in the day. That it takes 7 hours to fuck a girl. No, I heard 7, but
it's one or the other. I know what he's talking about, though.
Yeah, but either way, I think I set a record. I shared this on Tinder that I had my best and my worst of the year in the same week, because I had one girl who I took home after 45 minutes after meeting her. And I had another one who managed to string me along for 5 dates.
Damn! Wow, 5 dates. Fuck that.
You got the patience of a saint, dude.
Animal.
Yeah, I don't make it past 2, man.
For you guys, just like real quick, like the easiest indicator is if a girl makes solid eye contact with you for like
Bingo.
2 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Bingo.
Looks
That's
at
it.
you,
That's it.
go now. That's the first thing you need to do. If you're stuck at game or anything, if a girl's like, if you're scanning the bar, she makes eye contact with you for more than 2 seconds, you go. And don't be like a dork and sit there and count. Like, but if it's about,
You'll
if
know.
it's
There's a difference.
you'll know.
I'll say that,
And
or a
then
double
approach
take.
her.
If you catch her doing any kind of double take, if she looks
Yes.
at you, moves away real quick, moves right back, 100% in. You need to hit it. If you can do that, the faster you do that, the better.
And check this out.
And that's eye contact.
There will be no second chances. If you make that solid eye contact with her for more than 2 seconds, or you catch her doing a double take or getting loud around you, if you don't approach the very first time you're aware of that, there's not a second chance. There isn't a second chance. See, here's the thing. We're supposed to be the pursuers, right? But how do you know which girls to pursue? Girls want guys to come after them. They're not going to say, hey, I want you to come over and see if you can fuck me. No, they're going to give you indicators of interest, eye contact. But if you don't go the very first time she knows that you are aware of her IOI or her body language towards you, listen, there's no other second chance. You're either man enough to seize the opportunity now, or you are not. That's it. That's it.
And he's right, dude. This is global too. Girls Tokyo, they do it as well.
Yes.
They do not give you any second chance because they realize you are not a man. You're not ready to come get this, and they're done. You're dead to them.
I wanted to make a final comment before we take calls in a second. So I think one of the biggest hurdles guys have with pickup and game, with or without the red pill, is they overcomplicate it. My game at this point, and I've done like 7,000 cold approaches, excluding online shit. So I've been going out for a long fucking time. And I'm not going to forget that, because I think a lot of guys, you know, kind of like with tradcons, right? They go in their 20s, they bang all these hoes, and then hit 30, and they're like, oh, now I just want to start a family and have a really high quality relationship. It's like, dude, both are valid. Like, you can't just fucking discard one. So I have gone through a lot of experimentation, obviously. I've met the top guys in the world through the convention and otherwise. I've seen a lot of them in field. The guy Retiso is better than anyone I've ever seen, including Mystery. I haven't seen Mystery out, but I've met him and stuff. But I want to say this. My game, I'll just make this up on the fly. I was thinking about this. At this point, for me, it's like Steve Jobs' game. And that fits my personality. And what is Steve Jobs' game? Super, super, super fucking simple. So I'm scanning for IOIs, strong IOIs. Not like, oh, did you look at me for a second? It's like 2 seconds. Or did you do double take?
Right.
And then from there, to me, the words come out of your mouth are almost fucking irrelevant. She doesn't care. You want to engage your hindbrain, which means she doesn't give a shit about the words coming out of your mouth. Or it's very, very low, right? Unless you're whispering or something like that. Yeah, exactly. So engage the hindbrain, and then what do I do now? I work logistics. That's like the first thing I'm doing. I'm like, oh, how do you guys know each other? Old school pickup shit, right? That's important. Where do you live around? What's going on with that? Where do you live? Like, why are you in Orlando? What's going on? Whatever the fuck question is, right? Like, yeah, I live, 10 minutes away. We should hang out. Like, super simple shit. Like, how'd you get here? Like, just that, the logistics. If you have your shit together and she's into you, and you just assume value, and you have higher SMV, you assume she wants to fuck you, which you absolutely should. There's like a huge chance if she's talking to you and she's into you even a little bit, she wants your dick in her. So I would encourage a lot of guys, if they're studying, like if they're still into RSD stuff or reading like, all these other manuals and shit, not that they shouldn't, but at the end of the day, your game can be really simple. It can be as simple and effective as like assuming value, assuming attraction, assuming arousal, and then just going for logistics like immediately. Now that fits my lifestyle right now, what I want to do and all that. Like I don't give a shit about getting her phone number. To me is not even interesting because it's like, oh, I have to go on a date. That sounds like work. No, I want to have sex like immediately. Like let's go hang out now, like right fucking now, 1 a.m.
Fucking preach.
I want that ass.
Yeah. The number. I mean, that takes time. I have to text her dick pics, like all this fucking bullshit. No. Immediately, let's go hang out.
Yeah,
my house.
I don't even look for IOIs anymore. I mean, that used to be a big sticking point for me back in the day, trying to scan for the IOIs. Yeah. And I just stopped caring about them. I just start the interaction. You start escalating Kino immediately. And you just see how she reacts. And if she's not responding well within, 5-10 minutes, I'll just bail on it and say, hey, nice meeting you. I gotta go.
Exactly. And Kino is huge. That's what I was saying too with the words. They don't give a shit. Like it's all, a lot of it, it's just hindbrain engagement. That can be verbal, it can be whispering, or it can be body language, touching, all kinds of stuff.
Anthony, did you guys ever do that game back in the day where you try to see who can get shot down the most, and then the last guy to get shot down buys drinks?
I didn't drink. I saw guys play that.
Oh yeah, that was how I learned exactly what you're saying. You'd say some dumb shit, and it actually would work, and you're like, "What?"
Oh yeah, I was fucking
Oh, I
tripping
gotta go
girls
fuck
in.
this broad.
So I hired this new one of these new guys to the company lately, and we went out the other night in Orlando, like this wine down thing, and we were talking to these girls. They were into us, but one of them was kind of like not manly, but like the attitude was manly. So I was getting like annoyed, like, I don't want to. I think I might just fucking bolt and just ghost on these chicks.
Gross.
So, but instead of doing that, I started talking shit to one of them. She had mentioned she got out of a relationship. I'm like, oh, like what happened? Why did it blow up in your face? And she's just like, what? And my buddy's like, holy shit. And she like, you could tell she was into it though. Like shocked I would even say that, but then like he was like, dude, she was getting fucking wet. And I'm like, yeah. Like, why'd you like what happened? How'd you fuck up? Like what blew up in your face? See, a lot of guys don't even understand that. They think like anything like that will end the interaction, and it won't. The fact that I even had the frame to fucking say that and just like call it out, it's strong stuff. Women respond to it because it's a time burning engagement.
Well, too many guys get so stuck in the fear of loss that I have an interaction and it feels okay with this woman now. So they just want to keep that going, to keep that dopamine going in their head. And instead of thinking, okay, I'm enjoying the interaction, but am I going to get the result I want from this in the timeline that I'm willing to spend on it? And that's why I kind of run the mode 1. Since reading that book, my game is more direct than ever, and I eliminate girls at a fucking blistering rate, where old me will be like, okay, I'll give her an extra 30 minutes. And like, I'm like, okay, you know what? I have another 4 dates booked for tonight. I'm going to fuck off.
Dude, I barely give girls 30 seconds. Sometimes I just ghost. Like if I don't like what they're saying, I just walk away. I don't even say anything.
I got to use the bathroom. See ya.
Yeah. So then I would just say like, definitely there's so many guys. That's why we have this situation right now. Too many guys are not willing to walk away.
Right.
Like, you gotta just walk away. Like, just be like, look, bitch, I don't like the way you fucking talking to me. You're boring as shit. I don't like the way you got this fucking thing on your nose. Whatever you feel immediate like dissatisfaction with them. Too many guys stick around and they just eat shit and they eat shit and they eat shit. And this girl can sense that coming from you, that you're kind of, you're kind of compromising for her. And then what she does is she starts losing respect for you as well. And then the situation is just bad for both of you. So I just say walk away, because just like in sales, time kills all deals. The longer it takes, Carl, like I said, do 5 days. God bless you, man. You're a fucking nice guy. 5 days. A chick is lucky to get 5 hours out of me, if anything.
Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, it can be useful to keep things social and keep things friendly. Zan Perion's one of our speakers is huge on that. But I'm different, and I think a lot of guys, like you're saying, need to practice being a dick. They need to learn being a dick. They need to habituate being a dick. You know, I literally would cut off conversation. They'll be mid-sentence, and if I don't want to talk to them anymore, depending if I'm like 1 or 2 drinks back, I'll just walk away, like mid-fucking sentence. Don't care. Like, you know, and if they're really into you, they'll grab you or something. They'll like apologize. They'll start submitting. Be a little more submissive.
Yeah, 100%. You definitely know you'll
fucking talk to you anyway. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Exactly. You're shit testing them basically. And I agree with John too, man. If you stick around when they're disrespecting like that, you're failing shit tests like rapid fire, like machine gun. And they're gonna hate you. They're gonna be like repulsed. Guys do this all the pickup guys do this a lot. It's horrible.
Yeah,
Tyler teaches them this, what do they call it? What was Owen's thing, Carl? Maybe back in the day, Tyler, it was you barrel through the shit test. You just, not even the shit test, you just like, you keep sticking in there. It's ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah, dude. Don't take fire. Don't take bullets, man. Get the fuck out.
Just walk away. Other chicks are waiting to fuck you. There are other women that are waiting to have your dick inside of them, and these other women are keeping you from fucking those women. So you should get away from them. Yeah, we should probably take calls at some point soon here, right?
Let's do it. Yeah, I got 3 in the queue, man. Whenever you.
All right, let's do it. 1 second. Before that, everybody watching, take the green pill. Go to patreon.com/Redman Group. It's also in the description beneath this video. Support the show. We have a tier of $10 a month for a special show we'll do once a month. It's a Q&A we'll do with at least 2 panelists you see here. It'll be exclusive to the Patreon. It'll be only aired there. In addition, we accept super chats, much appreciated. And there are 628 people watching this right now, probably 99% men. Everybody smash that fucking like button, destroy it, run a train on it. Just hit that shit as hard as you can.
Run it on the like button.
Yeah.
Get on now before they boot us from Patreon.
Oh, and yeah, I know, right? I know. Fucking even Subscribestar, the alternative now, they just lost PayPal. They got booted off that. That one's fucking up. Yeah, fucking censorship. In the meantime, also you can all buy magic soap and Pheromone Wash Yourself and Alpha Symbolism. So you can go to my channel, 21 Studios, youtube.com/21. Get your soap right now. It'll up your alphaness to about level 9,000 immediately, and you will not even need game or the red pill. You will get the soap pill. You will get the soap pill.
Anthony, did you ever watch this movie? It was an old campy one from the 80s called So I Was a Teenage Sex Mutant.
No, but I think I've seen you talk about it. Someone in the red pill has talked about it. I need to watch it. I think it was you.
It was me in one of my emails I had sent out. I think give it a watch. Yeah. I think you're going to get a newfound appreciation for how you're talking about the soap.
Okay. So what is it called? It's a teenage sex mutant?
So I Was a Teenage Sex Mutant.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like an awesome 80s movie.
Oh yeah, like Police Academy, nothing but boobs and hijinks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's only one way she's going to sit in your lap this holiday season, and that's with tactical soap and this hat. So, Donovan, let's hop to the callers. Everybody watching, check the chat for the caller. The phone number, Donovan, what's the phone number again?
That's 914-205-5356. Again, that's 914-205-5356. We've got area code 407, 303, 843, and 316 in that order. Let's go on area code 407. You're on live with the Red Man Group. Keep it pithy. Keep it short.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up?
My name is Dominic. I'm 19 years old. I kind of discovered Red Pill, all that I read Rational Mail like 4 to 5 months ago. I'm in an LTR right now. I'm passing a shit test, doing whatever. But I really just want some advice from you guys because I know you guys there's a lot of older men in here. So right now I'm kind of just on my own like self-development purpose. I'm hitting the gym, making sure, just trying to make some passive income. Really, I'm in college right now. I'm trying to go to school, become a psychologist. Now, I do go out occasionally, but I've really just been trying to focus on myself in that sense. So coming from you guys, what do you guys think my next step should be as in just like dating exclusively? Like, I mean, I'm having sex with women, doing whatever, but I really just want some advice from you guys.
Dude, why do you want random guys on the internet giving you life advice like this?
Well, hang on, Ryan. Why did you find you're in a relationship. Why did you find the red pill? What made you interested in it in the first place?
Failures with women, basically. I discovered like in the summertime. I was just like online, basically like pick up whatever. But I found the pill, and I kind of just summed it up all more for me, trying to understand female nature, female psychology.
Okay, cool. I mean, my first comment before anyone else hops in is just I'd be very skeptical that being in a relationship at 19 is a good idea. Between now and age 30, where I'm at, you're in Orlando too. I saw your area code. Hell yeah, man, Orlando all the way. But yeah, I mean, you don't understand women right now, especially compared to your older self in like 11 years when you hit 30. And you will hear that now from us, but you're not going to understand it until you age every year that goes by. So I don't know if she's a great chick. Maybe she is. It sounds like you're doing all right with that. But I'm skeptical that regardless of how good that chick is, I'm skeptical it's a good idea. There's a reason, one of our panelists, Rolo, who's on here a lot, talks about this, not dating until you're about 30, not dating monogamously. Because you're losing out on experience with other women, and you're nowhere near your potential right now in terms of SMB, in terms of being a man and becoming a man. You're still a teenager, literally. So I'm skeptical it's a good idea. I don't want to, chide you on it too much, but I'm skeptical it's a good idea in general.
Caller, how old is your girlfriend?
She's 19 as well.
Okay.
Like I have like idea of myself and her is like, if whatever happens is my fault, and if she leaves, she leaves. It's not like I'm like an abundance, not scarcity with her as you guys say. So I mean, like dating exclusively, whatever. I'll just go out pick up other chicks. It's like not really that hard for me. I mean, I've had sex with many girls, so it's like,
yeah. Listen,
well, you could also knock her up. I mean, that's an issue too, man.
How many?
The only advice that I would give you is use a condom because you're 19, she's 19. Understand this. Your relationship with her, and thanks for the call, area code 407, your relation with her will end sooner or later. You guys are both 19. You guys are going to date other people. You guys are going to fuck other people. Don't knock her up. If you knock her up, your life will be forever changed. Don't knock her up. Keep doing what you're doing. If I were you, I would hold off on pursuing a long-term relationship until I'm at least in my 30s.
Yep.
And you obviously don't know what you do want. So I guess the only thing I get as a better answer is just start sussing out what you don't want. Once you start removing those things, what you do want out of life is probably going to become a lot more clear.
I 100% co-sign that. At 19, it's very hard for him to understand what he doesn't want with women. Even if he's banging a lot, like you said, what does that really mean at 19? 10, 20, 30 tops? I'd be surprised if he was over 30. I'd be surprised if he was over 20.
Even if we're going there, you want to look at the fact that he's 19. Most of his life development is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. He's going to make most of the major decisions in his life. And
yeah.
Being in a relationship, fair enough. I mean, as long as you're not living together or married, or God forbid there's an oops pregnancy involved here, you'll probably do okay. The biggest problem is whenever you're with another person, that limits your choices. And that's going to influence, for instance, if you get an offer to go to school across the country and your girl has a job where you're at now, or vice versa, are you going to go for that, or are you going to say, no, I want to stick with the girl? You know, how much opportunity are you willing to give up in the next 5 to 10 years to stay with this girl, worst case scenario? And I think having, you know, a hard line on that, you know, putting your mission first, simple as that, and your girl should be a complement to that.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, real quick before we go to the next caller, this is simple. He's 19, she's 19. It doesn't matter how old you are. Girls are always 3 steps ahead as far as the game is concerned. They're always 3 steps ahead. Girls mature faster than boys. They have red pill awareness quicker than boys. The average 14-year-old girl, the average 14-year-old girl knows a lot more about the sexual marketplace than the average 14-year-old guy. Same with the 25-year-old. Same with the 35-year-old. You're 19, she's 19. You've got red pill truth, but trust me when I tell you, she probably knows more.
All right, well, you have to keep in mind here, the girl, I mean, if the girl's 19, she's had guys been trying to fuck her for the past 7 years, probably at least at a ratio of 1, 2, 3 every freaking day.
Right.
And she has a lot of experience. Even if a girl has been in a single relationship with one guy from the time she was 13 years old and he was 13 years old, when she's 20, she's been hit on thousands of times, and he's hit on a girl once.
Right.
That's a major experience gap.
We actually have a super chat question here from Fresno State 1776. Thank you for the $20 super chat. We appreciate that. He says, question for Donovan and John. If I don't validate a woman, won't she think I'm being shy and not speaking my mind? I naturally do not like to validate women, but push myself to do so because growing up, that's what I saw. That's what I saw all men do. Jonathan, I'll let you go first, and then I'll...
Yeah, all men are also getting raped in divorce court right now as well. So, I mean, why do you need to validate her? If anything, she should be validating you. Like, the fact that she's there with you, if she's on a date or in your presence beyond 5 minutes of initial meeting, she already has validated you by saying, like, you know, okay, I think you're worthy of my attention. You're clearly, you know, she probably is attracted to you. So it's up to you just to move the interaction towards sex. Don't worry about validating her or telling her how awesome she is. Trust me, she has an Instagram or some social media account. She has some men telling her how awesome she is in this day and age. She's talking to you and she's with you because she sees you as different. So be different and bang her ASAP.
Yeah, my take on this is you validate her by giving her your sexual attention. If you're out on a date with her, if you're physically with her, that's validation enough for her. At this point, what needs to happen is you need to put her through her paces, man. Make her make her qualify herself to, okay, you have my attention. You're sexually attractive. I want to fuck you. But guess what? I want to fuck a lot of girls. Why are you different? Like, I could stick my dick in any chick I want. Why should I spend my time with you? Listen, girls can talk all they want about how they want to be validated and appreciated for who they are. No. Girls want sexual validation. The fact that she has your attention gives her that validation. There's no need to validate her, and that seamlessly dovetails into right into what Jonathan says. At that point, if you sexually validate her non-verbally by just showing up, just move the interaction towards sex, man. You will not be punished for that ever. Good question, though.
Next caller.
All right, next caller, area code 303. You're on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so I have a weird kind of question-ish. It was originally going to be pointed towards Rolo, but he's not here because it's about his newer book about religion and the red pill. But I definitely throw it out to you guys as well. But I basically had a Medusa for like 3 or 4 months earlier this year. And I just like recently started getting my confidence up and stuff. I'm 28, by the way, so I feel like I'm kind of a late bloomer on this.
Sure.
But yeah. And so I've had a bunch of like super shitty jobs. My last job before my current one.
I don't
like,
listen. I don't mean to rush. I don't mean to be a dick, but we really need to get to the question.
Yeah. Okay. So my main thing I'm trying to figure out is like from the whole. I grew up pretty conservative Christianity, and now more of a whatever I feel like Christianity. You know what I mean? I'm still pretty devout about that, but I'm still iffy on the whole premarital sex and dating thing. And I feel like it's hard for me to figure out where to go here with the red pill knowledge. I got introduced through Cooper to Rolo and then to you guys. And I believe all of it. It's like really eye-opening, and they have like a red pill Christians Reddit, but they're also trying to figure out how to balance these out. Does that make sense?
All right, Jonathan, you're up first.
The Christian print. Yeah, go ahead.
So just listen, I just want to tell you that I used to believe the same thing. I used to be like the cool alpha kid in youth church. And I believed that every girl was a perfect angel. None of these girls would ever have sex because it was a sin unto the Lord. And I truly believed it. And then when I went out into the real world, the secular world, I learned that these girls would meet a guy the first night and fuck the guy without a condom and totally be okay with it. For that shit, it blew my mind. So the premarital sex is happening everywhere. Are you just like, you're feeling uncomfortable with it? Because in my opinion, if you're not going to be having sex with a girl and ultimately you want to marry her, I think in this day and age, you're setting yourself up for failure pretty quick.
Yeah, that's an understatement. I mean, holy shit. Outside of like super hyper tight cultures like Mormonism, and even that, I'm sure it's not perfect.
No,
outside
not
of that,
even close.
Outside of that, you're just totally fucked. Like not banging a chick a bunch before marrying her or whatever you want to do. Or I wouldn't recommend marrying her anyway, legally. But any kind of long-term relationship or fan formation or anything like that, there's just no fucking way that's going to go well. I mean, hypergamy doesn't care. So
yeah,
even women who are, verbally orating this stuff, they don't want to have sex before marriage, or that they would never do that. I mean, that's going to be bullshit 98% of the time at minimum. Just like Jonathan was saying, he was, stunned to find out these girls are getting raw dogged in the first night, and then they go to youth camp, youth church the next day at 19, and they're like, oh, I'm saving myself for marriage. Meanwhile, Chad Thundercock and Tyrone are running a fucking train on him.
Yeah, well, you're 100% right, and it's not even like a thing that character can fix. It's back in the day, if you remember, when you were 17, got out of high school, you'd have a middle-class job right away, and you could start a family. Now, guys, you have to go to college. You have to be 25, 26 until you get to the point where you can support somebody. So you're asking teenage girls from the age of 15 to 25 not to have sex when they're being offered it all the time. Like you're right. It is setting it up for failure, and it's something you can't turn back the clock. You can't just say, more prayer will fix it. You just can't.
Yeah. I mean, it's the times have changed. It's just there's no social consequences, no social or cultural consequences anymore either. There's like zero for doing it.
Now, you can sit there and decide to save yourself till marriage until 30, but just realize that you're going to be sinning anyway. At least this one sin will keep you from becoming socially stunted by the time you want to have a family.
Well, I hate to admit this, but Stone actually has a good point for once. And if you look at, the timeline of this here, like if you're getting married at 18 to 20, which was kind of the rule back in the day, then it's not that long to wait, because you don't usually start getting into, the other sex until you're like 14, 15 in most guys' case. So that's not a long wait. If you're waiting until you're 30, you're done with graduate school, and you have a good, stable job and a couple of years experience under your belt, that's a long wait. Then you're totally sexually inexperienced when you're 30. You get married, and then you're going to be married to this person until you're 80 or 90, because you don't get the mercy of dying briefly and harshly from a heart attack when you're 54 after not having gotten laid for 14 years. So you have to look at it this way, that the timeline has been stretched out, and that's one of the downsides of it. And the other one, just to touch on something Anthony said, One of my favorite old fairy tale books is 1001 Nights. And the Sultan used to lock his wives up with a bunch of armed guys who had their balls cut off when they were kids to guard them. And even they managed to get around and cheat on him. So it doesn't really matter how many things you try to put in the way. If a girl is determined to fuck you, she will climb out on a magic carpet from that palace of the Sultan down into the wherever the horses are kept and fuck the stable boy and then have a genie transport her magically back up again.
It's the magic
100%.
tingles carpet. The magic tingles carpet. All of a sudden, they can just float wherever they need to go to get the alpha seed and the dick, ride the dick.
150%, dude. If a girl, that's why when you guys like rationalize and put up with shitty female behavior, if a girl really likes you, she will fly across the country for you to fuck her and bust your nut in 30 seconds. And she'll be like, that was the greatest experience of my life. If she really, really likes you.
Well, it was an hour. She wanted to get a drink first.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, so last thing on the Christian thing, I'll say if this whoever the caller was, if you're not familiar with Dalrock, DALROCK, just go to Google, type in Dalrock WordPress, Dalrock Red Pill, you pull his blog right up. It's probably the best Christian manosphere Red Pill blog that exists. Roll is a huge fan of it. I think he's been helping Rollo write his 4th book. So definitely check that out. There's a lot of content there that might help you navigate the Red Pill of Christianity, independent of Red Pill Christian Reddit or something like that. So check out Dalrock. That's I love it too. I read it time to time. I'm not Christian anymore, but yeah, it's by the Santa hat, right?
Jets.
Saint Dream, come to the rescue, dude. Next caller. Or we got a super chat we got to hop on, right?
Yeah, 2.
Programming asks, this is a good question. With game, can you make the girl see you the same way as she would see a guy that was physically perfect for her? Or will game always get you the girl, but via her mental gymnastics? This is, does game trump physical attractiveness? My answer is yes.
It won't get you the girl anyway. It'll make it more likely that girls will see it, but not the girl. I think he's focused on sniper game there, which I don't like.
Yes. Yeah, there's something about the question that's kind of off. It feels it's detailed.
It's a false dichotomy. It's too detailed, and I would say, I kind of coined the term the hurdle rate in SMB. Every girl has you have to be this hot for me to fuck you level that you have to reach before anything else matters. You can have the most rock solid game in the world. If you're a 1 in terms of attraction, you're never going to have the opportunity to spit game at her.
Right.
Yeah.
And even then, even if your game is solid and your look is on point and you have the opportunity, it's not going to be a fit with every girl. And that's one of the things you learn that's one of the reasons to do those 100 approaches. Because if you do 100 approaches, odds are 10 girls won't stand you from the second you make the approach. 10 girls will be really, really into you the second you make the approach. And 80 will be kind of in the middle, they're not really into you, but they are not really not into you either. So you have a chance of turning them around. So it's the hot lead, the cold lead, and the medium and the lukewarm lead. And you kind of have to learn to distinguish between them. And some girls are just, it's on you not to fuck it up. And other girls, you won't be able to turn them around no matter if you had a cock made of gold that ejaculated credit cards.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And then also, just to top it off, if you have real game because game is a mental state of mind, that physical attractiveness is a necessity in order to maximize your game. That you can't be covered in pimples, 300 pounds, unkempt, and go out and expect to get girls. It's like a baseline knowledge. You have to have a good balance, but don't use looks as a crutch. You should have more game, but definitely don't be a disgusting pig. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you have to find a good balance there.
That's why the Red Pill is huge on strength training, lifting weights. You need to be in top physical shape, the best that you can for your genetics and relative to your other values and stuff. It's important. And you wouldn't expect, no one wants to go, no one is like, oh man, I can't wait to bang ugly fat girls. Well, some men might, but most of us are not. You want the most attractive woman you can find. You have maybe specifics that you like about certain women. I'm a huge fan of white women and Colombian women. Those are my top favorites, my top 2. So I go to Cowboys all the time, these redneck bars and shit near Disney. But it's every dude that goes out, even if he's delusional and overestimating how hot women are. Like every girl he approaches is a 9. No, they're all like 6s and 7s. Is reality.
Quick interruption there for Peter Crozen, €2. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, shout out to
euros, dude.
I want to say, is that a Polish name?
Maybe Crozen. Yeah, I don't know.
Might just be seeing him.
Yeah, shout out to him with the $5 super chat says for the Red Pill Renaissance. Take your red pills daily. Let's go back to the phone lines. Area code 843. Thank you for holding. You're on live with the Brother Pill. You go ahead. I mean, the Red Man Group. You go ahead. I mix this shit up all the time.
The brother.
Thanks for taking my phone, guys. I'm 41. I'm about a year out of a 20-year marriage. Fairly new to the red pill. I don't know that it's completely set. I felt like I kind of knew most of it naturally before I even started. But I'll say that.
Oh yeah, it's normal.
You guys really helped me through some dark times. So thank you for that. Started dating this past weekend, so I took about a year off before I got back into that scene. First 2 went pretty well. Can't complain. Third one, something different happened. It didn't really look much like my ex, but she was pretty hot. But I'll say in the first 5 or 10 minutes, I kind of felt like I got a blue pill gut shot. Spent a lot of the evening trying to kind of maintain the right frame. I felt like it was okay, but I found myself too uncomfortable to allow it to move on to anything that might even form like a short-term relationship, and just kind of backed out.
Yeah, you're in your head too much, man.
Yeah. My question there is, what? It's just too much thinking about it, too worried about that kind of thing.
God, yeah.
And this is perfectly natural. You're out thinking the room. It's perfectly normal and natural when you find the red pill and you start dating again. You start dissecting every move. It's very, very easy to do, but with practice, learning these things will become second nature to you. So just like Ryan said, you're in your head too much, but that's nothing to be concerned about. This is a natural stage when you start dating again.
Yeah, you just got to get your reps in. You just got to get your reps in. That's all I'm going to say. You should be happy that you're able to get on a date and a woman is able to dedicate some time and meet you and go and entertain you with the perception of that maybe sex is going to happen. So you said you took a year off from the game. So this is just normal. Like, you just got to put your reps in, and eventually you'll get to streamline it.
I want to add that it sounds like on the third chick you mentioned that it wasn't as good. There was this and that, blue pill gut check. The basics of what I heard, not only in your head, like Ryan said, but it sounds like you got sucked into her frame. So if you're interacting with a woman at a bar, a club, a coffee shop, whatever, you need to be having fun. You need to be enjoying yourself. Put yourself first, like Rolla says, mental point of origin. So if you're not enjoying the interaction, start enjoying it, change it, or fucking leave. Exactly like we were talking about earlier. And that can be in the middle of a date that, she had to drive, 20, 30 minutes, who cares? And you as well. Just fucking leave. Like, hey, I'm not having a good time. See ya. Like, get cold, man. Women are ruthless. Hypergamy is ruthless. Hypergamy does not care. And if you can match that with your own ruthlessness, women will respond very positively to it. You will see women turn on a dime with their behavior and physically grab at you to stop you from leaving and shit like that. But more importantly, you're going to put yourself first in like short-term little settings like that, approaches and stuff. That's important. That's one of the most important things you can do is when you're out approaching women. Enjoy yourself, have fun, put your values first. And for me, that means enjoying myself, talking to a girl. And if I'm getting bad vibes, negativity, whatever bullshit's going on in her life, I don't need it. Get away from me. Go away. I'm going to find another girl who's more positive, more feminine, more respectful, more to a degree.
You're nailing it, man. Because frame's not what you have; it's who you are.
That's it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and frame is foundational. I think it's Rolla's like number one rule, right? Frame is foundational for any interaction with women, whether it's for 5 minutes or 5 years or whatever the fuck. Frame.
I also think it's kind of important to set rules for yourself. It's something that I know Terrence Pop, who I know I'm a fan of and Ryan's a fan of, he had a bunch of train wreck relationships that ended with, I think, his ex-wife killing his dog and some shit. And he basically swore off relationships for 7 years. And that was a rule for him because he realized, okay, I'm the common denominator to all of this train wreck shit that's going on in my life. I'm going to take 7 years off relationship. He's not taking 7 years off sex, just off relationships. And you're just out of a 20-year marriage. You took a year off afterwards to process. I think that's a good thing, and it's something I generally advise guys to do, depending on how long the relationship is. Just because a lot of guys have a habit of they get out of one train wreck, they get into a new train wreck, and nothing really changes. So I think it's good to actually
can down the
spend
road.
some time processing. But I think also now that you're back to dating, just setting up the rule that, okay, I'm going to date for a year and I'm not going to get into a relationship. Just set that as a rule that no matter how good of a deal you think you find, you're not going to get into that.
Yeah, I would say too, if he was in a 20-year marriage, that means a 20-year relationship. That's 20 years of his brain being in a relationship. I would say stay out of a relationship for years. You're 41, you just got to have a 20-year relationship. Dude, take 2, 3, 4, 5 years off from any kind of relationship consideration. Fuck buddies, and that, the same at Lays, fuck buddies, dates, keep it at that. Do not get another relationship for a while. You have a lot to learn, I would imagine.
Not only that,
well, I have my rule now with I'm not getting into a monogamous relationship until I'm 40. I mean, he could do the same, not getting into one until he's 45.
Yeah, exactly.
As men, we age better than women. You're going to look about the same now at 40, 41 as you will at 46. And, P.T. Barnum once famously said, there's a sucker born every minute. Guess what? There are sluts turning 18 every minute of every day. The pussy supply is not going anywhere anytime soon. And as long as we have feminism in our culture, they're going to keep giving it up. That's all there is to it. 914-205-5356 is the number to call. Area code 316. I think you're calling from outside the U.S. You're on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
All right, mic check.
It's your turn, brother.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. All right. Thank you. I'll keep it short. I was in the military. I have people asking me whether to join. Now, my question is about pursue your passion or pursue opportunity. I think Richard said it. If you have a job, you're just over broke. In today's day and age, if people got the option to go to college or pursue a trade, what would you advise people? And I get the point about, why are you calling people on the internet to advise you on your job? But I'm having a tough time talking to these kids.
No, we were trolling when we asked that.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll say trade. I mean, college at this point is very dangerous in a number of ways. It presents a lot of negatives, long-term negatives too. The indoctrination, the propaganda, the SJW shit. You're surrounded by people who are into that stuff. All the debt you get into, it's not non-dischargeable in the United States, the bankruptcy. Mountains and mountains of debt for worthless paper degrees. So trade school, 100%. Trade. Mike Rowe, actually, from Dirty Jobs, is huge into this with a nonprofit he has. I will say, though, college, obviously, you'll make an exception if you need it. If you need to go to college for a very specific career track, become a doctor, become an attorney, stuff like that, or engineer, STEM fields and stuff like that. So if it's not very, very specific, do trade school all day long. You'll make 150 grand a year cash fixing tractors out and wherever the fuck, bumblefuck nowhere, Kansas.
Americans have the GI Bill, don't they? Where if you join the military, they pay for college.
Yep, my brother did that. Paid for.
That's how I got my second degree.
Yeah,
it's all that debt stuff doesn't matter if you're getting the government to pay for it. So if you're gonna go, I would say do that.
Yeah, and I'm doing in America though. Yeah, I mean I don't know, man. I'd stay college to me. Yeah, it's just getting worse by the day, man. I'd stay out of it. There's several. I mean, it's opportunity cost too. I spent 4 years in college, and I was running a business that whole time, the 21 Studios, and I left after 4 years. I just dropped out, but I should have dropped out even sooner. Well, I dropped out the way I dropped out, and that's fine. But had I dropped out sooner, there might have been more benefits to it. True. It might be a year or more in advance to where I'm at now.
Yeah, there's no right answers. And Carl's a good example too. I know you've seen this from corporate life where the company wants you to have this certain qualification, so they send you on it. And they pay for it.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. And, I might be a bit the odd man out here, considering I have more degrees than the Celsius scale. But my thing is, it depends on, what do you want to do? Because, if you get a degree as a tractor mechanic, you're going to be living in bumblefuck Idaho for the rest of your life because there are not a lot of tractors in the middle of New York City or Vegas. So you have to take that into account. Some trades are very good. Welding is great for now, but, it's only a matter of time before you get welding robots. So you have to look at, where do you want to live? What kind of lifestyle do you want? And, there are some obvious bad degree choices you can make. If you're going to major in feminist dance therapy, you're never going to see a return on that investment. Anything in the humanities, more or less, you want to avoid. You want to avoid anything in the social sciences, perhaps with the exception of economics, and just because companies love hiring economists, and there's a great market for that in both finance and consulting that are both very high-paying fields. I would avoid law now because there are too many fucking lawyers. Put it that simply. I mean, lawyers are not making that much anymore because they've been mass producing lawyers for the past 20, 30 years. So they're earning less than guys who have solid trade degrees. Computer science is always going to be solid going forward because with everything becoming digital, you're going to need guys who can program it. Anything more IT centric towards infrastructure is going to be solid too, but I wouldn't get a degree for that. I think you'd be better off getting an entry level job as a technician with some company, and they'll put you through all the certifications that you need.
Bingo.
Same thing with if you're thinking about doing something like a professional's degree, like an MBA or something like that. You want to do, at most, you want to do a bachelor's degree, and the company will pay your MBA for you.
I would say this too. I think you hit the nail on the head with some, Carl, that they should be skeptical about getting a degree that they just might not need anyway. For example, if you're interested, I was interested in entrepreneurship even obviously in college. I was running the beginnings of 21 Studios, which was not intended to be a business. It was intended to be like a meetup group, like a community basically kind of thing. But if you have, as I tried pursuing a degree in part with entrepreneurship, it was like a minor component of what I was doing. But that's useless. Like I've learned 10 times more about business even then by engaging in it and following through on what I wanted to do at the time and pushing the limit on that. So I remember meeting guys even back in 2012, 2011 that had MBAs, and they were now interested in starting a business, and I knew they didn't know jack shit about it. They had all this schooling, all this degree, all this fancy shit, and they didn't know jack shit about actually getting stuff done in real life and kicking ass. So and Tim Ferriss years ago had a big post about this, like comparing spending $50,000 starting a business versus that equivalent amount on a college degree related to it. So be skeptical and go into critical mind of what's actually important to you in college if you want to go to any kind of schooling like that, rather than going out in the real world and getting shit done.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly right. Getting shit done. College degrees these days are completely useless. Listen, go to trade school, become a plumber, welder, diesel mechanic. Dude, you're making 80 grand right out of school. You have no debt. And trade school tend to be masculine jobs. And if you're a plumber or a welder or a diesel mechanic, you're not really beholden too much by the mighty HR, a far less opportunity to get #MeToo. If you work in an office, you're going to get #MeToo. That's how it is. Real quick before Jonathan goes, shout out to Advisor to Men with the $5 super chat. He says, good stuff, gents. A man who can harness his music in service of himself and others lives a life of meaning. Stay powerful. Rest comes easy. Appreciate that.
Carl?
Yeah, when he
no?
Oh, go ahead, Carl.
Jonathan, sorry, I fucked that up. Jonathan, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so what I was just going to say, he was asking, going for your passion. Look, dude, that is, if you're going to go for your passion, it's probably going to take you years to figure out how to monetize it, if you even figure that shit out. But if you can get a solid job, basically you want to get the quickest way to get a mass amount of money for the smallest amount of time possible, and then you take that money and funnel it into monetizing your passion. That would be the way I would go about it.
Yeah, what I did was Carl, you want to hop in?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one little thing because we didn't touch on it from a sexual market perspective, and I'm just going to throw this out there. Women do not tend to want to date guys who are less educated than they are. And currently, as colleges are churning out more and more women with degrees and fewer men with degrees, if you're living in a city like New York, for instance, or any city with a high competency environment, except Silicon Valley, perhaps, in those very traditionally male areas, if you're a guy with a good college education and a solid job, you have your pick of women in that city with degrees because there just aren't enough guys to go around. And these girls will put out fairly easily and predictably because they're not used to having guys with degrees hit on them. And it's different with black women because black women, to a much larger degree, have that a black woman with a degree will marry a black guy who works a trade, but white women, for some reason, tend to not. They look down. If they have a law degree, they're not going to date a guy who's a plumber, even if he's making 250 grand a year. But they will date someone with a lit degree who's making 70 grand at Starbucks serving coffee.
It's not about the money; it's about the signaling.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about the social status thing, because them not marrying a guy, they feel like they're reducing their status by dating, or at least because when women get to 26 to, they like, even if you're just fuck buddies, they like the illusion that this could become something more. So they need that little cover of darkness there to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, hypergamy looks up. It's always dating up everywhere they can.
That in my previous podcast, the more power and influence a woman attains, the further she shrinks her pool of potential suitors. Before we go to the next caller, it's interesting about women in college degrees, specifically black women. The reason why women place such a high value on education is because it's easier than getting into shape. Okay, getting and staying in shape isn't easy, and that's why feminism and this fucked up Western culture keeps pushing the myth of the woman who's hot because she's educated down. That's easy. Here's another thing: education in America is fucking easy, and how do we know it's easy? Because get this, guys, 67%, 2 out of 3 college students and college degrees are with women. And women never do what's hard, guys. When's the last time we've heard of a female in this part of the world take the road less traveled and do the more difficult thing? Never. This, again, look at the percentages. This is why there are far more women who are sluts than women who are virgins until they're married. Being a slut is easy. Obtaining from sex is hard. This is why fat girls than thin girls. This is why 3 college students is a female, right?
Quick interruption for you, Donovan, there. Just want to give a shout out to Red Pill Mamba for the $5 super chat. Called us life changers and to keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Same as the second one here. What's his name? Oh, where'd it go? His super chat just disappeared. At Nexus 974, supporting the good works of the Red Man Group. Thank you for both of you guys. You're very swell and giving me a boner.
Real quick to finish this out. College degrees, and I've said this, American educated women are frauds. Think about this. 65% of all physicians are men. 68% of lawyers, men. 68% of dentists are men. 70% of engineers, guys, are men. And over 80% of engineering students are men. 81% of surgeons are men. 96% of commercial pilots are men. And to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen, or I'm sure you have, Ryan, because you've been in the military, and I think Miami J and Pine Frank told me they did. But I've been to more air shows than anybody, and I've never seen a female pilot in any one of them. So when you have a health issue, or your freedom is hanging in the balance, or you need a root canal, or you need a lung transplant, or if you need a skyscraper to be built, or you need to be flown in a steel tube in excess of 550 miles an hour at 35,000 feet in the air, who do we turn to in situations like this? Not women, right? This is why women push college degrees, because getting a college degree is easy. And we know it's easy because most people who have 4-year degrees are women. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I find it kind of ironic that women are. I'm muted here. No, I'm not muted yet. Yeah, women are. They say now that they're being more educated. Well, that's the manosphere was seeing that statistically, women are getting more education than men. More of them are going to college. They're getting more degrees. But in my opinion, like we've been talking about, most of these degrees are fucking worthless. You're in an indoctrination, re-education, Soviet-style camp. It's nowhere near as intense, obviously, but some of the fundamentals are the same. You're being fed propaganda on a daily fucking basis. The college I went to in Orlando, like the second or third biggest university in the country. I mean, it's huge on that. I went there for years, and I wasn't happy with like 90% of the teachers because they were SJW fucking losers.
University of Central Florida?
Yeah, UCF. Yeah. University of Central Florida, yeah.
Proud alumni.
I'm a dropout alumni. I went for 4 years and then I dropped out. I failed how to start a business twice in a row. Swear to God. First and only class I've ever failed in my life.
Yeah, with the colleges these days, what they're doing, they're just selling you information at a slow rate that is outdated by the time you can theoretically use it.
And
you're
really
just better
expensive.
You're just better off looking at YouTube and just cranking out through videos and buying courses.
You're not even selling that. You're selling social signaling.
Yeah,
like Carl said, I have a degree. That's a signal. It's like having, muscles. get you a signal about how you have some alpha personalities.
I'm gonna
Same
throw
thing.
this analogy
you
out.
you don't pay for the information, Jonathan. You pay for the piece of paper that you can go and present to someone and say, "Look, I've done this." It's the same thing as a driver's license.
Let me throw this analogy in here. In my opinion, when gay marriage was a thing in America that the Supreme Court ruled on a couple years ago, I was kind of surprised because I was like, legal marriage is such a clusterfuck. Like, why are these people fighting for it? Like, it's stupid. Like, independent of the rights thing and all this other stuff, right? It's like you are like gunning for this clusterfuck of a legal contract. They're just like so excited to get like legal, gay marriage like into the culture, right? Into the legal system, all the states, all this stuff. And I see women now getting into college in the same way. They're getting sucked into college. They're in higher numbers than men. They're more than half of them. They're getting more degrees. It's like most of these degrees you're getting are fucking worthless. They're getting out of college, $50,000 in debt, and they work at Starbucks. Like, that's what they end up doing. Or, so they work at a bar or something. It's fucking stupid. So yeah, I see it as women, like it looks like they're getting the better end of the deal, but really they're just going like off a cliff. They're running off of a cliff, and men are doing something rational. They're getting out of college. They're starting businesses. They're going to trade school. They're becoming welders. They're doing all this other stuff we're seeing. And yeah, women are falling behind. They're doing the easy route, like Donovan was talking about. Easy this, easy that. Whether it's being a slut or it's doing all this stuff, going to college and getting a master's, a PhD in feminist literature or some shit. So yeah, just stupid. It's gonna ruin their life.
My bad, Anthony. I didn't mean to cut you off here.
Nope.
There's 30 seconds left to get in the queue. We have 7 callers. We can mow through them all, but you guys got to be brief. Shout out to Javon Smiley with a $20 super chat. Hashtag charge on. Hashtag go Knights. I have no idea what that
10
means.
seconds.
Hopefully that's not hashtag white Knights.
UCF, University of Central Florida. Blake Bortles, baby.
Oh, God. Take credit for him. Ozzy411 with a $5 super chat. Shout out to him. Okay, let's try to get through these next
lightning round.
Yeah, here we go. Area code 727 have been holding for 38 minutes. You're on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Hey, mic check.
It's your turn.
Great. My question's pretty quick. It's about going out, whether with wingmen or going out solo. I found that someone who is still a little bit newer to pickup, I've only been doing for about 4 months. The wingmen that I usually go out with are the same skill level as me. But then if I'm going out by myself, I can get in my head and the venue can start to own me instead. So I guess the question is, go by yourself, go out with wingmen, how to meet good wingmen. I'll leave it there.
Pivot. A female wingman's your best bet. If you're a guy at your skill level, you guys are going to wallow in each other's failures. That's why you're probably having more success sergeant, because you don't have a crutch anymore.
Not only that, I say go both ways depending on the night. And if you go with a male wingman, make sure he's red pill aware. Blue pill guys end up being cock blocks. They end up being the quasi mother hen. So your wingman's got to be red pill, or you roll solo. Or here's another hack: if you're in the friend zone with a hot girl, use her as a wingman. You're not going to fuck her anyway. But when other people see you with a hot girl, nobody knows you're not fucking. Nobody knows you're in the friend zone. You can use her to start getting attraction from other girls. And oh, by the way, the girl who is friend zoning you, when she starts to see that you're getting attraction from other girls, she might be attracted to you.
I have 2 comments on this. Number one, if you have a shitty wingman, whether he's blue pill or he just sucks, or you wallowing in, like Ryan mentioned, wallowing in your mutual misery, that's like super bad. You're better off solo than with a shitty wingman.
Yeah.
So get rid of the negative. Either he's at your level and he's solid, or maybe above. Definitely not negative, any kind of thing like that. Second thing, going out solo is, in my opinion, like the best way to get better if you can stomach it. It can be hard. You can easily get in your head. You can get really in your fucking head, get like a really shitty night. I had plenty of those. But in my opinion, going out solo, which I did a lot, I've gone out solo, I don't even know, hundreds of times over the years since 2006 basically. And that's easily one of the fastest ways to improve, because it's fucking hard. Being in a venue by yourself, there's no one around. You can make a bullshit, about if you have friends there or something, but I don't do that. I go out solo all the time now. It's fucking awesome. That's one of the best ways I pull now, because I feel like a fucking wolf, like a shark, like shark mode. I just fucking sniff. I'm like, where are these women out there I want to fuck? So that's my personality too. But I no matter what your personality is, going out solo is fucking hard. It's harder than having a wingman as a crutch, right? Even a guy who's solid. And it puts all the pressure on you. It's all on you. You're there by yourself. You're there staying there, for every minute It's your own initiative. There's no one there to hold you accountable other than yourself. So definitely give it a shot. And the first few times you'll do it, feels free a dozen times. Might be a little awkward, but you definitely get more comfortable with it over time. You learn how to operate and navigate in these like environments a lot better that way.
Yeah,
And the pressure's on you, man.
I'll just chime in here real quick, and we can move on. Basically, there are pros and cons to both sides. If you have a solid wingman, it opens up more opportunities. You can talk to 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, and it's a little bit more easy to like pull them away or have your guy run distraction game for you. If you go out solo, girls notice this. And if you go out solo and you go to the right venues and the girls see you alone, they're going to know you're out for sex, and you're going to be able to screen and catch the girls who are also looking for sex. So there's pros and cons to both sides, but the most important thing is that you just keep going out. And if I had to choose with a wingman versus not, I would choose with a skilled wingman, because at least I'm going out with a friend and having fun and having drinks and enjoying time.
Good answer.
Yeah.
All right.
I just peep. Last thing, I just peep. If I'm out alone and I'm a wingman, I'm just like, I can't find a chick I want to fuck, but it's worth fucking, I'll people watch, man. Andrew the Private Man was huge on this. You should people watch. You can do that at a bar. Don't look fucking creepy like you're scoping the place out to fucking shoot it up. Just have a drink, chill, talk to little people here and there, and watch what people do. Watch, use red pill awareness and watch interactions. There's so many dudes in the friend zone of these bars and clubs. Most of these dudes you're seeing are at a bar and club are not getting laid that night or like at all. So watch these interactions. Watch the guys who are players. Watch the guys and spot the guys. Get to know the guys who are at that venue consistently. Know the bouncers. Like, there's a lot. I mean, you need to study game and go out and like learn this shit. But these are things you learn going out by yourself, and it's very useful. You can learn just watching shit happen. Watching some dude get blown out. Watching some guy get friend zoned or keep forced back into the friend zone, or watching some guy pull ass like fresh piece of ass. Get to know the bouncers. There's a lot you can do when you're out by yourself. But I do agree too, though, that having a good wingman is like super useful.
All right, let's go.
Hard to find.
All right, let's bouncers are your friends all the time. All right, area code 647. You're on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Hey guys, I have a quick question. When you guys are talking about the like if a girl makes eye contact with you for 2 seconds and you don't approach, then she doesn't give you another sign, or she thinks of you as less than a man.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that through a stranger to stranger interaction, but what about when it comes to like a venue, or like, for example, for my life, I'm a boxer, and the gym I go to is boxer friendly as well as civilian friendly, because there's boxing classes for cardio and whatnot. I was just wondering, like, for me, I know everybody. I know the owners. I know all the boxers. So for me,
hold on. Let me cut you off right there. The situation you're talking about is very different. We're talking about when you're out and about, stranger to stranger. If she makes eye contact with you, you have to approach, or you're going to lose out. You're pre-selected. You know everybody there. You're a boxer. You know the promoters, et cetera, et cetera. You're not going to have anything to worry about in terms of IOIs. But if you're out and about, you don't know anybody, that's when that occurs.
Yeah, he's in the zone. People are gonna people will make their interest known to him. As soon as you see people trying to isolate themselves with you, that's when you know you're in.
Yep, 100%.
If nobody has anything else, we can go to the next caller.
Yeah, I think this will be the last caller. We'll need to wrap up after that.
All right, area code 571. You are on live with the Red Band Group. Go ahead.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to make it real quick. So how can I find guys like you in real life? Like how Richard Cooper will always say, you are among the people you hang out with. If you hang out with 5 dumbasses, you're the 5th one. And like all my friends are like in long-term relationship. And every time I bring up something, Red Man or a Rational Male, they think I'm delusional. So if you guys can give me tips on that.
Yeah, finding like-minded men. Go to forums, man. Hey, do you live in the city that I live in? If so, let's meet up for a coffee. Let's meet up for a beer. That's my suggestion. I mean, this is the internet, right? Like, I'm sure that there are more than one Red Pill aware man.
I got a comment here that the pickup community was really good with the layer system back in the day. Now, that sounds really creepy, and it's a horrible name. They knew that even back then. But the layers was good. It was like a local meetup group they'd have all over the country. And they're all independently organized, too, and operated. The Red Pill doesn't have that yet, but I think in the coming months and years, you're going to see that start developing. Because this question has been really consistent, right? This isn't the first time I've seen this lately. I've seen this a lot. The people are asking about it for the Rational Male, the Red Pill, the 21 Con, all that stuff. So I think you're going to see this pick up in the Red Pill community. in the years and months and years to come.
And I'm gonna say,
I think,
oh, go Carl.
I think that's going to happen because I think people are finding this community and they're going to start finding guys that are around where they live. Like I notice a difference because I spend a lot of time with the guys who come on the Redman group and speakers at the 21 Con and so on. And, I can really spot a difference in my life. I have a ton of horrible shirts. I have a MAGA hat and a fucking truckload of tactical soap at my house now.
Yeah.
It's all about networks. First thing, if you're not worth a damn, people who are worth a damn aren't going to give you the time of day.
There you go.
So that's the first thing you got to get out of the way. Second thing, and people who are worth a damn are desperate for other people who are worth a damn. They're filled with, they have as much retards around them as anybody. So if they see a guy with his shit together, they will seek you out.
Yeah.
And beyond that, it's about multiple things. So let's say you have a guy from work that you get along with. That's fine. But that's one connection. If you can get a second connection, say you were both at the Raptors game or you both like hockey or something like that. That's how connections are built. So as you start doing more things that more high value people are doing, you're going to start finding these high value people and you're going to build these networks organically. It takes a lot of work, but it's a good tailing, or what's that word? Tailing metric?
Something like that.
Long tail?
Anyways, that's the one, the long tail. As you start doing more high value things and acting more high value and being more high value people are going to be doing a lot of these same things, and you're going to actually find it naturally collects together.
Yeah, like attracts.
I'll even use us here. The five of us, what did we do? We were on a forum looking up red pill stuff, and then it turns out that we all wanted to speak at a convention, or for Carl and I, we were in a similar profession, and eventually these things just started to build connections from it.
I want to co-sign Ryan what you just said. The very specific concept you hit on is simple but hard work. So that guy that called, he talked about a couple of his friends, maybe 5 of them or whatever it was, and if he ever mentions anything with the red pill or game, they think he's like crazy or something, right? Dude, that sounds like you need like a life change. Like you're hanging out with guys who are like beta bucks sucked into these relationships. They were manipulated into those relationships probably. And say there's 5 dudes and 5 of them relationship, 3 or 4 of them easy were manipulated into those relationships, and it's not healthy. And you're going to see that play out over the coming years in your life when that shit blows up in their face one way or another. So it sounds like you need like a life change, and that's going to be how you navigate. That's up to you. This show is like a good first step. You ask a bunch of dudes on the internet a question. Keep asking questions, man. Ask yourself those questions. Be honest with yourself, like brutally fucking honest. Post up on the internet, post in the red pill, post wherever you want. Get advice and then take a chance if you need to. Assess your situation with these friends and what you got going on. But if they're not healthy for you, you need to navigate that, manage that, and find new ones and build new relationships one at a time.
Right.
Yeah, and then I'll just add to this. So I'm in Tokyo, Japan, and from doing this show and just being engaged in social media and just being actively outward about my red pill personality, I'm finding guys in Tokyo that are hitting me up and meeting me. We're having drinks and we're going to parties and we're picking up chicks and all that stuff. So just put it out there. Start linking up with us on social media, and then start looking at the comments and start just sourcing for guys in your area. And then that's eventually how you'll be able to find quality guys, because not every guy you meet from this community is also going to be quality, but that's how you build up the whole repertoire, if you will, of friends that are red pill.
We got a few super chats here I think we should hit before hopping off. Appreciate them first of all, guys. First guy is Man First. He donated $5. Appreciate that. His question is, do women find calm and collected men more arousing or aggressive and arrogant men? I read being aggressive is emotional and impulsive, but they chase arrogant. Me? Probably men was what he meant.
This is really easy. Look at the difference between a guy like Anthony Johnson and myself. Anthony is flatline no matter what. Like I've never, no, seriously, I've never seen Anthony get too high on the high or too low on the lows. Then you look at a guy like me. I'm very hot-blooded. I've got a temper. I'm all over the place. I'm arrogant as fuck. I'm in your face, blah, 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 blah. We both had success with women. It really just depends on the kind of women. The whole strong and silent type, that's overrated. Nobody wants to fuck the Marlboro man anymore. He's got fucking lung cancer. He's got stage 4 fucking lung cancer. At this point, if you're loud and aggressive, that's who you need to be. If you're cool, calm, and collected, then that's who you need to be. Don't try to fake the funk one way or the other. If I tried to be like Anthony Johnson, it would not be good. It would be all bad. If
So I agree with Donovan. Like he's hitting the nail on the head with how I operate on a day-to-day basis, minute to minute. At the same time, though, I've got to be able to, and I have learned how to turn that off and get really like amped up with women, especially when I'm fucking them. And that's necessary. I can't be like flatline monotone, like super calm, right? Doing that. So it's a different side of my personality. And that's actually part of, I think, a unique character trait I have is the ability to operate on both ends of the spectrum with this, to be like Donovan when I want to be. And the rest of the time, I like being calm, cool, and collected, running a fucking business and kicking ass and focusing on my values, my mission in life, which is why I choose to be this way.
And like you, I need to learn to tone it down. I can't be a fucking Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
Just be unpredictable.
Yeah, be unpredictable. Exactly. That's what they get. That's what they're very surprised when I fuck them and they're like, holy shit. But there's a completely different side of my personality that I bring out.
Well, there's psychological backing for this, Anthony. You know that, right?
Sure.
Yeah, you might not know. So there was this thing where these guys were doing a test on puppies. They had 3 groups of puppies.
Oh, yeah.
One, every time it walked up to the scientist, he would praise it. The second one, he would punish it every time it walked up. And then the third one, it would flip it back and forth between praise and punishment. And the ones that grew the most attached were the ones that had the uncertainty, where they didn't know if it was going to be praise or punishment.
Exactly. Yeah,
and so that's where that
it's awkward conditioning. It's unpredictable reinforcers.
I call it a confusion game. So even in my house, you guys see what I have here. Women walk in, they see like the YouTube button, they see some like pheromone soap, they see like dangerous personalities, they see like men are better than all these fucked up books and shit, right? I walk them by that, they're like, what the fuck? And then I have like Christmas tree lights, like year round, like party lights and shit. I have disco balls and like around the house and stuff. It's fucking ridiculous. So my scientific terminology for it's called confusion game. My house is so just disorienting and confusing, and they're like, it's unpredictable is what it is, really. And it's very different from meeting me out at a bar where it's like super calm, super cool, like, hey, let's hang out, we should, grab a drink, whatever the fuck. So it's playing at its hot cold. Yeah, it's playing with the person, it's playing with the dark and the light. And it's fun and it's unusual. Most guys aren't like that. They're gonna be the way they present themselves, for better or for worse.
You gotta be like, just to double stamp on what Ryan and Anthony said, you've got to be predictably unpredictable.
Okay.
Sure.
There's 2 more super chat questions. The first one I think we missed was $5. I think that's euros. €5 from Ibo. Says, any hints on how to handle hot and cold from a woman? Walk away, ignore. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if she's shit testing you, I mean, she could be BPD is what that could be, but she could also be shit testing you.
Or teasing for validation.
Yeah, there could be something there. I mean, just play. You got to learn how to calibrate and respond to it. But I also would say look out for personality or disorders too, man. Always. I've been through that, in the worst, and other guys in here too have too. So anything that stands out, the minute I realize they're not normal, there's not normal behavior, there's something specific going on. I'm like, all right, is that normal behavior just being expressed differently, or is there something behind the scenes I'm not seeing? And dude, like 20% of women have like a personality disorder that can really fuck your life up, or whatever the stats are on it. Carl can always bring them out, but that's my first thought.
You don't need the stats. Trust your fucking gut. That's the number one thing. You can have as much analytical knowledge and facts in your head as possible, but if your gut tells you there's something fucked up about this, there usually is. That goes for dating, it goes for business, it goes for family relationships, it goes for everything. If your gut says, if you have that little nagging thing in your gut where something just feels dodgy, just get up and walk the fuck away.
Yep, 100% co-sign that, and that's exactly what Joe Navarro advocates as well. And I fully agree with you on that. Trust your gut. The older I get, the more I appreciate what the fuck that means and how important that is and how serious it is. Trust your gut.
All right, we got one last super chat question here from Avetis G Programming. He wants to know, is there a limit as to how much one could increase one's sexual market value? Because I feel that everyone has their threshold. Even hitting the gym, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game, it feels like there is a threshold. Do you guys?
Yeah.
No.
There is a threshold. Not every guy is going to be able to make himself into a 10. It's going to depend on, if you have a starting point, you're short, you have hideous facial features, you have fucked up teeth, etc. You have massive social anxiety. You're not going to be able to make yourself into a 10 unless they come up with some Captain America level shit on genetic engineering. But you won't be able to take yourself to like maybe a 5 or a 6. So you can increase your sexual market value a lot, but once you get to that upper echelon from like 8 to 10, it requires progressively more effort. Like you might consider plastic surgery, having your teeth done, etc. So it gets more expensive and more time
Yeah, Murray, I
consuming
need you
to
to
get those last 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen, I just got called short, bald, and ugly, but I've got a big mouth, so I'm alpha. Yeah, exactly. That's what the red pill's all about.
Yeah, and like what Carl was saying as well, dude. In our day and age, any guy, let's say you just take your body to peak hot dude, right? You can get it to at least a 7, and then with modern technology, if you want to do it, you can go to Korea. You get them to shave your fucking chin down, give you a superstar face. Like, you could really max out your looks if you decide to do it. But in my opinion, this guy's chat question sounds like he's just procrastinating and asking questions, whether or not to, like, if it's possible, then just taking action to actually make himself better.
I agree with you, Jonathan. I agree.
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting.
Now, listen, not to bag on the guy, but listen, you got
he needs to be bagged on.
It's true.
It's for his benefit. No, you're doing it for his benefit.
Yeah, he's going to get a bicycle next week. Relax, Ryan. He's getting.
But yeah, like, you gotta, you can't just sit here. You're not making, like, just like we talked about last week. Okay, you can't be in monk mode for a year and kind of validate yourself, like hamster to yourself, like, oh, I'm just doing research. I'm making myself better for when I'm going to approach girls. Same thing with your physical appearance. You should be in the gym. If you guys are following me on Instagram, you saw that I was a pretty fat shit in August, and now I'm a not so fat shit. But I've been chopping away and restructuring my body. I just feel good that I know I'm working at myself. And, I put the progress pics on there as well. So you shouldn't be questioning so much if this will raise your value, and you should just be actively working towards actually taking actionable steps towards raising your value. Don't worry about the roof. Worry about hitting the roof soon. And then when you're at the roof, then take it to the next level.
But whether there's a roof or not, whether there's a ceiling or not, there is a floor. Okay. And you can't stagnate and say, well, once I have 6-pack abs, I'll go out and approach. No. This is on the job training. Self-improvement is a constant. Can you max out on your sexual market value? I don't know, but you need to spend your life trying. That's how you max out your sexual market value.
Exactly. I didn't hear a lot of this, guys. My headset died. I had to put on some other shit real quick. But I did want to say earlier in the conversation, whether or not it was said before now, the only thing you can do is the best you can do. And you should absolutely pursue the best you can be, the best version of yourself over a lifetime. And game, red pill stuff, fitness, business, wealth, career, your own personal psychology and your own kind of mindset stuff, all the power positive thinking shit, the real versions of that, the real applications of that to actually stay positive and kick ass in life. So however you were born, whatever your genetic potential is, absent the Captain America stuff, do the best you can. It's probably going to be fine. It'll probably be more than fine. You'll probably be a huge potential that you're not tapping into yet. That'll take time to develop. That's why guys, we say they hit their peak at like 34, 35 years old in SMV. There's a reason for that. It takes time to bring out your potential. It takes time to hit the gym for 15 years and build up that part of your life. It takes time to go out in business and career, get your ass kicked and kick some ass and learn those lessons over time. And then with women, the same thing. Getting your heart broken with women is one of the most positive things that can happen for your life. It sucks in the short term. In the long term, it masculinizes you. It makes you harder. It makes you, women want that. They love, chicks dig scars, right? It's just like tattoos, right? On guys, chicks dig this shit. They dig that you've been through some shit and you've gotten through it and you kicked ass now beyond it. So that's my 2 cents on that. I think we need to wrap up. We're about almost a little over 2 hours.
Yeah. Listen, shout out to all the people who super chatted the questions. This is probably our the most super chats we've had since we started.
So, yeah, I get their game. They're trying to keep us dragging it on here with encores. I feel
like a cam girl. I just get keeping dragged on.
Dude, honestly, audit for hours and hours, man. Sometimes I think to myself, 2 hours is not long enough, but
yeah, it's a good show format. I think it's good. It keeps us focused and condensed to compressed to a certain time. Brings out the diamonds, the diamonds from Ryan's shirt, Carl's genius, all these things, All right, guys, let's wrap up. I'm Anthony Johnson from 21 Studios. You can find me at youtube.com/21. Everybody watching, thanks for watching today. Hit the like button on the video. Go to patreon.com/redmangroup to pitch into the show. support it. More creation, more content, more stuff. Ryan, you guys want to, everybody else in the panel want to kind of go through your website real quick, where to find you?
Sure. For me, it's ryanstone.com, or you can do Twitter or Instagram at _Ryan_Stone. Beyond that, you got the newsletter, which is ryanstone.com/newsletter. Sign up for 6 emails a week on a variety of red-pilled topics. Patreon there also with Ryan Stone for setting up some extra things. We got YouTube. The channel's in my bio, or you can just go to ryanstone.com/YouTube and it'll automatically direct you to my channel. There you can learn about some decent cooking skills as well as decent red-pilled skill sets. And that's me. I'm pretty sure I've missed something, but there's a lot. So just check them out on the website and follow me on Twitter.
I can co-sign. His videos are high fucking quality. You guys,
they are
really are. And I need that. I need the recipe for those madeleines. You guys can find me on donovansharp.com. I'm also on YouTube. Just do a quick search for Donovan Sharp. It's the first one there. You'll see my beautiful face. I actually think I have a pimple in that picture, but who cares? Who gives a fuck? Subscribe to my Patreon, patreon.com/Donovan Sharp. That's where the complete episodes are. What you see on YouTube are abbreviated censored versions. If you want the real shit, if you want the unfiltered shit, patreon.com/Donovan Sharp or donovansharp.com.
Get that red band shit. Get that good shit.
Know it.
Jonathan, how do people find you?
Just follow me on Instagram at Modern Life Dating, and I just got back on the fucking shithole that is Twitter. I'm at Modern Life John on there, but follow me on Instagram. I am launching the body language course. This shit is going to be legitimately one of the best things you've ever seen in regards to like dating and body language, because I've been in this sphere for such a long time. I haven't seen anything like this. Also, until for the next week, I'll also be on Donovan Sharp Show on Tuesday morning and Thursday morning. So check us out there. And I have a YouTube channel with literally like, I think 100 videos now. Modern Life Dating on YouTube. So holler at me and then we'll chat there.
Carl?
blacklabellogic.com, and you can also follow me on Twitter, and that's about 30% productive posting, 70% shit posting, peaking at 90% shit posting on Fridays and Saturdays when I drink. And probably most other days when I also drink.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hopping on the show today. Thanks for watching live. This has been the Redman Group, episode 45, PUA in Game. And you can find me on Twitter at Beach Muscles. That's exactly like it sounds, Beach Muscles. I'm going to sign to the live stream here. Everybody hit that like button and see you next week, Saturdays at 10 a.m.